All right, everyone, it's 3:05. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. If we can all stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just as a quick reminder, if we can silence our phones, and if there's anybody that would like to speak on any agenda item or non-agenda item, make sure you completed the little signing sheet at the end of the boardroom. You got blot? Okay. All right, so
Please make sure that you sign in. If you didn't, everybody that's here should have their name on that sign-in sheet, please.
okay, so roll call and attendance, we still have all 5 board members, nice and healthy on live. Approval of the final agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, public comment. So
I
what do we
have
have?
several.
Okay,
I have some agenda and some non-agenda.
however, the order you have, it's fine. Perfect.
All right, so first up will be, I'll just remind everybody you get 3 minutes. There's a nice little light up here. Goes red when you're running out of time. You're not first. You're not first. Nope. You did not. You're second. You're on deck. So first up will be Tom Shaner. Second is Ed Hedges. Again, a reminder, 3 minutes. I won't start the timer until you announce your name.
You even make extra steps?
Nice
I already walked all that way. I'm sorry.
Tom Shaner on behalf of the Pelican Preserve Community Association, and I am speaking on agenda item 15. Just very quickly, for clarification purposes, you, I believe, have 2 letters in front of you, the original letter that was sent by Chelsea and the second follow-up, which was for our request to just simply say that should Pelican Preserve ever want to discuss transferring of the assets, streets, landscape, et cetera, from Gateway to Pelican Preserve, would you be willing to have that discussion and do it? And from previous meetings, you had said yes. So we went to the city because we understand the AG's ruling that you had that prohibited from going from you to Stony Brook, I believe.
To an HOA.
Okay. That particular letter did not, however, say how it could happen. It simply said how it couldn't happen. So we've asked the city, would they do it? They are willing to consider it, but for them to do all the investigation that they want to do, they would simply like a letter from you saying, should, and it's a big if Pelican Preserve would ever come to Gateway and say, we'd like to enter into discussions with you, which I believe was part of the letter that Chelsea sent to, would you consider, if we would reach an agreement, would you consider transferring the assets? That's all the letter's doing. So the 2 letters that went out, the first one was perfect. I'm telling you, Chelsea missed by 5 seconds on the second one of me hitting the send of this letter to the city. So we're lucky, but the second letter really negated the whole purpose of the request. So I'm asking you on behalf of Pelican Preserve to please authorize Chelsea to say that the first letter is good and we can send it to the city. That was it. Thank you very much.
All right, now Ed, you can come up. Ed Hedges regarding 11E pond standards.
Ed Hedges, 10532 Azura. I'm also the PPAC Vice Chair. I'm here to talk about fishing standards on the ponds. Over the last few years, we've had several incidents of kids fishing on the flowway and through Pelican Preserve and at some of the bridge structures and that. And the proposed policy, or neither of the policy that you were talking about at the workshop or the recreational use policy, doesn't address the flowway. Just talks about fishing on ponds. And we have one resident that's really like things in black and white, one way or the other. But anyway, I wish that it would just say that there's no fishing allowed on the flowway. And be done with it, make it clear, put it black and white so people know. The language that's in the current revised policy says that ponds are open for fishing by residential property owners, tenants, and guests, provided access is from the property owner's property, period. That's very limiting. The recreational use says that fishing is allowed from GSCD property adjacent to the GSCDD ponds, which is what a lot of the fishing area in Pelican is. So I think that phrase ought to be added to the first sentence of the policy, so that's either from their property or GSCD property adjacent to the ponds. A little bit of an issue with some of the language, I guess, in about the third sentence, where it says that fishing must take place on the grass pond banks or in designated posted fishing zones. In Pelican, we really only want them fishing in the designated fishing areas or behind their residence. So it seems like that might want to be a little more specific for Pelican. So,
A question for him, just, Ed may, or Bob, maybe you can know. The main
Really a
flow,
question. You're done with your statements.
yeah, the flowway, where I see a complication on this is the flowway that goes from Weir 2 to 3 has houses that butt up against it. Do their properties go to the flowway? Because if they do,
Some do.
we'd be taking
some
away
do.
their,
The
taking away their
homes-
rights.
The homes in the Verona area go right
That's what I
to,
thought.
but
You
the
got people
big,
that would,
the big difference is when the policies were set in Pelican, Pelican did not have any responsibility to the flowway. Our most recent methodological change, Pelican now has some financial responsibility.
yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the biggies. The area that these residents or kids or whoever, there's one resident that's complaining, it's 40 yards from their home, but as soon as the kids show up, they call the cops. The children have received the okay from Casella, which is the side in which they enter the flowway. The people in Casella have said, we don't care. The person on the other side of the flowway still cares. That's the issue.
that's a current
That's the-
incident.
I think the big question is, how are kids getting into Pelican?
Well, yeah, get grandchildren, and they probably coming in on bikes. I mean, that's a different kind of an issue. It has gotten so inflammatory that people want to call the cops on them, and nobody's willing to do that.
Do anything anyway.
Well, that's the whole other issue, but if they are allowed access to the flowway like they are in Pelican,
So I think
I think
to,
whatever you decide, it needs to be a lot more.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you
explicit than black and
recognize the fact that when you say you can fish behind your residence, some of those people are residents that are on the flowway.
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
And we've always allowed that.
so we will work on tweaking, because like Ed mentioned, there's an existing policy out there somewhere about fishing, so we'll work on incorporating the language and
As a result of the most
you,
recent
Ed.
methodology, we now have to include
Well, you
flowway parking.
have designated fishing areas
Yes, we do.
already. They just want more areas to fish.
No, there's one
No,
person that doesn't
we want to
want.
limit it to
Sometimes
that,
the problem
those
is the
areas.
designated fishing areas where there's
We-
no
we
fish.
would li-
They've
The
been
fish aren't
fished.
there.
There's no fish.
There have been several incidents where people have been fishing in areas where they shouldn't. Some of them are the flowway, some of them are along the preserves. They walk along the bank, along the preserve for the
Absolutely.
residential. And it'd just be nice to be a lot more explicit that they only fish either directly behind their house or in designated areas.
And the reality is you're never going to control it. You really aren't. I got people fishing behind my house all the
We
time.
had the
A
same
grandfather and his son. I'm not going to say anything to them.
We had-
All right, thank
I
you,
don't
Ed.
care.
Who do we have next?
Next, I got Tim Miller regarding 11B, the paid parking. And then Rod, you're on deck.
I sent you.
Can you just announce your name for the record,
Oh, I'm
please?
sorry. Tim Miller from Gateway Flag Football. I sent you all an email last month about my concerns about parking. And one of the things I addressed there is that I do think it would affect revenues. I think, for example, you're possibly talking about starting it in March. We have people already signed that spring season that would be unaware that it's going to cost them anywhere from $30 to $70 more on top of the fees that they're paying in parking fees as well, you know, if they're paying for parking. Based on the numbers that I've seen, that we would see a reduction in registrations anywhere from 30. Look at what kind of revenue you get from the field rentals. But if you take that off, now it's a question as to whether or not it would really help, you know, the revenue situation. I had a parent send me an email last week. He's in soccer and flag, and he's guessing he's estimating it's going to cost him $20 a week for parking. He'd be paying as much for parking as he would to register for one of the leagues. What ends up happening is the people that are barely able to afford it will be the ones that won't be able to come back. I mean, it's going to more affect the poor kids that, you know, we get people that want to get scholarships. And I did get a nice grant from Toyota this year and handed out all those scholarships to those that were needy, those that are on food stamps and things like that. And those are the ones, unfortunately, that I think will be affected by this the most because they won't be able to afford, you know, the additional cost on top of that. The other thing I wanted to point out, there was discussion about other places charging for parking, but it's not similar to this. The only youth sports thing that I've ever seen charge for parking in this area would be like a big tournament or something like that. That's different than saying they charge for parking at the big stadiums or whatever. Fleshman Park, Rutenberg Park, none of those youth sports activities charge for parking. If we start charging for it here, I feel like that people will go to other places. You know, they may not have flag football there, but they may go, we're going to play, people say all the time, we're playing baseball this season. They'll find another sport because the difference in cost is now out of bounds. From questions about my email or?
I do. I have some. I know I sent you an email and you're going to get, I did reach out to Tim and I wanted to know what percentage of the kids that are enrolled are actually Gateway residents and the ones that are not. I do have some questions for you. Do you live in Gateway?
I do not now. I have in the past.
Okay. Do you recall what was the current fee for flag football in 2020?
2020, what I compared it to was the 130 in 2022. Rate started going up. It was roughly 130 or 139. The lowest I ever remember it being was like 99, so it's probably gradually went up over the years. So 2020, I could probably look it up. I think that might have been when we were with Gridiron, and I don't have access to all the details then because they had a separate database that I don't have access to, so I'm not sure I can.
And what is it now?
Right now, 169, or this next season, I moved it to 175.
So a $45 increase?
I paid 190. Well,
You were late. So
That was my
the
one.
people that are late pay a $20 late fee. There's people that buy early. The majority pays the regular.
if you register early, it's 175.
Oh, no. If you register early, it's 159. So I'm saying that 175 is
I'm
like
just
the
trying to see the
average.
increase that
I
they
get about
have
100 people that
versus
register
ours.
early, and then I probably get 100 people that register late, and they end up put the two together, and it comes out about the same.
Okay, so 159, it is the current
Early bird.
cost now.
Well,
Early.
it ended on January 11th for the spring season, so that like the first week and a half of registration, we do an early bird. It's like $15, $16
2
off.
weeks to register early.
Yeah, and then for me, it's really, I would have to go into a meeting because I don't know if we're having 20 people sign in for 159 and the rest not. I wanted to see, Tim, exactly what is the increase from 2020 to now? That's
I'll
exactly.
see if I can find
That's
that.
exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Okay. What are your suggestions? Because for me, very blunt, we are subsidizing. The fields are not making money. So we have to come up with money, right? So choices, will we increase as we have to? So we just fully 100% pass it on to you, which as a businessman, you're going to pass on to the kids.
I have to.
Okay.
And we haven't,
So
there are certain
for
things you
me,
can.
that's going to be a real short conversation. So I will pass the increase to you because I have to do the business. I have to do what's right for the residents of Gateway, right? So there's a deficit. I have to come up with it. I'll pass that on to you. You are going to pass that to them, right? Because that's what you're saying.
Right,
You
but I
have
ha-
to, and I have to respect that.
Yes,
right?
but we haven't
Or
passed
into
near as
profit
much as
margins.
Yes, which he's not willing to do because he says he is going to, if we assess him more for rental fields, he's going to pass that on to the residents. That's what he just said. So it's either Tim on behalf of the district assessing the players, or is the district assessing the $2 parking fee? And I do think there's room for accommodation because I have been here in the field. I know Mark's probably the one that sees me the most. I mean, you do know there are 3 or 4 parents that will come in, their grandparents, like if they can consolidate. So I'm not going to tell them how they're going to manage their money, but we as a district, the soccer fields are just sucking the money dry out of us from the most amenities. So we have to come up with something, right? There is a safety issue that you're aware of it. Everybody's aware of it. So there's multiple issues that we're trying to cure with this parking. Okay, we do need to we're looking into building a new, parking spaces because there is just not, if we're going to provide something, we have to provide safety before we provide anything else to the residents. So my biggest thing is I would have loved to see I don't agree with the $2 parking. This is what you could do to get the revenue.
I put that in the email.
But how feasible?
Sponsorships for the fields, I think, if you go to Fleshman Park, there's signs as soon as you walk in all over sponsors, and they sell those.
But you're not doing sponsorships with Flag?
I do sponsorships for Flag, yes, but I'm saying that you could do a naming field thing or even sell.
have-
So,
We
so
have reached
you're
out
saying
to
you
it.
would be fine with Flag and soccer for the district competing head-to-head with your sponsorships in the local community? So, I mean, essentially, if
I
we
can't
start,
speak
if we
for
start getting
soccer.
sponsorships, there's a chance we'll be taking those sponsorships away from you and from Flag.
I have 2 sponsorships right now. You're that.
No, I'm just saying that
I don't have
that's the reason
time-
why we don't do it today is because sponsorships
I would
also
work with you.
subsidize the leagues.
I would work with you. I mean, I'm not going to go out and find the sponsorships for you. I mean, I just basically.
Well, no, I wouldn't expect you to.
But if you said, like I said in the email, if you found out Sunsplash wanted to sponsor a field, I would change the name on our website, on the app, so that whenever they're looking at what field their practice is on, it would say Sunsplash. They would have additional, besides a sign out here or whatever it is they agreed to, they would have additional things that I would help you with. I'd be willing to do that. That's not a big deal.
And prior to the staff that we have now, and then it was Tim Holland, we did work with sponsorship. I was one that was really, on out there, because my son played, and I'll tell you, within 1 month, he got $20,000 for the Gateway High School, and then within 2 months, he got $39,000 for the charter school. So, networking, it's big in the community. I just could not get it for the fields. I could not get buy-in from the locals. I could not get it from the outside. So it was a revenue that we took, and I know Tim actually used to work for Sunsplash, so we did took that route. It just, at that end.
Even with the number of kids families we
But
have out
we're
there.
derailing the conversation.
Yeah.
The point is, we have to come up with ways to drive revenue. And we're trying to get creative on that. And it's either that burden has to be passed on to residents, or it gets passed on through the leagues, or we come up with alternative revenue opportunities, whether it be concession stand or parking or whatever. So, I think part of the challenge is trying to come up with something that is kind of fair for everyone, that kind of transfer across the board. So,
And that goes to my email question for you, because I like to speak with numbers. So I know some of my board members will say, 80% is not resident. I want to hear from you. Like, if you come in and you said, Flavia, there are 60% that are non-residents. So then, yes, more than ever, the Gateway residents, they're paying their assessments, they are subsidizing even more to that. So I don't want you to give me an answer now about, I would like to know what it is, because that will also aid us, because maybe we can differentiate the parking. Maybe if you're a resident, it'll be a lower amount. Maybe if you're a non-resident, it'll be a higher amount. So the more information that we are provided, then it will be better and easier for us to make the best educated decision.
And I'll help you get whatever information you need. One thing I would point out about a non-resident, they're not paying taxes, but they are giving you revenue by signing up for the leagues and going into the league. So it's not like they're just using the fields. They are paying for them too.
really.
Mm.
No, you
Because of that
get the bulk of that.
Yeah.
They pay you.
But I'm saying that
And
money
you're
comes from
paying
them.
us for the
Yes,
field
yes,
usage.
that's what I'm
yes,
saying.
right.
I mean,
But it's not a direct pass-through.
yes, no, but it does get there.
We do have this as a conversation item later on, if you guys would like to take this
Okay,
up then.
thank you, Tim. I
Thanks,
appreciate
I
it.
still have 4 more people to come up, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Next up is Rod Senior regarding 11E, the pond standards. And then Jim Latham, you're on deck.
Thank you, Rod Senior, Gateway Greens. Just want to support Tom Shayner's point. I think it's a really good idea trying to transfer assets to Pelican, using quick claim through the city and getting around this negative AGL. Just want to say that. Pond standards, littorals. I want to pass this picture around. I did print you one a few months ago, but that's the latest. If you can just pass it around and bring it back, please. I was responsible back in 16, as some of you know, for helping to compile the first pond standards that you helped me with, Bob, and so did Ed and Cal Teague, who was Severn Trent in those days. And we did a pretty good job taking account of the 25% position that Lee County had, and also our DOs, whether they're silent or not. And Ed, I've got to say, Bob, you did a nice thing for me when I joined the board. You took me around all your ponds in Pelican Preserve. We had a tour, and you showed me an 8-foot stake that you put in your lakes. Now, that was a firm stake from a control elevation. You couldn't have a stake if you were floating. So, control elevation is where the weir is. I'm with Ed. It's 8 foot or 12 foot. And I'm not suggesting we stake all our ponds, but it's not a bad idea, because if you're going to do it from the inside with a boat, at least they know where the point is that they're, thank you. Sure. At least they know where they're eliminating the littorals to. I think there should be something like that. That's up to you to decide. So what we decided at the time was that we're going to try and respect property owners' wishes, and that includes golf club, not residential property owners, meaning the golf club. And we favoured wetlands as the place to put the littorals to comply with Lee County standards. Fast forwarding to 2025, a couple of months ago, I circulated this photo, Lake 116. These spikerush are growing in the middle, as Ed said earlier, 30 foot out from the pond bank. Not acceptable. Paul Flores and Stephanie have visited my house and we've talked about it. I got an email from Paul Flores saying they were going to be eliminated. Matt Malloy at the golf club has sent a letter at Chelsea's request asking them to be removed from the lakes, the ponds bordering the golf club. It hasn't happened. So I'm asking if it would happen, please, because unless you change the pond standards significantly, I think it should be 12 foot from control elevation, period. And that's it. Chain of command starts right here with you guys, down through Chelsea, all the way down to Stephanie, and then the lake contractor. Remember, it's not just the cost of planting littorals, it's the cost of maintaining them. That's the real dollar. And maintaining littorals comes back to where are we maintaining them to? And that's what it's all about. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
All right, next up is Jim Latham regarding 9C Pond 43, and then Gerald Knapp, you are on deck.
Okay, Jim Latham, 10504 Carina Circle in Pelican Preserve, agenda item 9C. I'm on the Pelican Preserve Ponds Committee, so this is really, I wanted to share, when we met to review the bids, our first go around, we did not have a unanimous decision on selecting a winning contractor. There was only 4 voting members present, and the vote was split 2-2. Since we're tasked with advising PPAC on ponds matters, we wanted to make, we felt we had to make a decision instead of leaving them at 2-2. So we did have a second vote, and we did go with MRI somewhat reluctantly. While a difference of a little over $200,000 between the next bid is not easy to overlook, there was a concern about the quality of the work that is not always covered by contract terms. I know that the pond bank remediation work will be closely monitored by Gateway, Tetra Tech, and the Ponds Group, and I hope the next time I'm up here, I can say that my fears were unfounded, and the work was completed in a manner acceptable to the Ponds Group and the neighbors. Moving forward, I would like to see the Ponds Group a little more involved in the bid selection process, if possible, something similar to what we did with the ponds maintenance contract. If we work with the staff in Tetra Tech, so we have some technical advice, it would help us understand where their direction, why they feel certain things, while it makes us feel comfortable as being the local people who have to live with it and answer to our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
One comment before Jim leaves. There's two parts in our agenda today that reference the Pond Standards Subcommittee accomplishments. Jim is the primary author of that. I mean, it's a phenomenal job. This is all volunteers. And again, I publicly thank you for doing that work. That's why it's under the accomplishments. We appreciate it. Thank you, Jim.
It's really just tracking as the year goes on, what we've done, trying to make the volunteers understand what the whole group is accomplishing, so they valued parts of
How big is your group now? Thank you. Seven core members.
It's always been 30.
Seven core
something.
members and 39 other people, and he lists what all of them do. But thanks again.
Thank you.
And part of that is making people feel valued, so they keep coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you, like you guys.
All right, next up is Gerald Knapp regarding pickleball, and then Pamela, you'll be our last comment.
I'm Jerry Knapp. I spoke to you folks several months ago about pickleball noise concerns. I'm a retired audiologist, and I sent each of you a fairly in-depth report of my concerns. My father used to say, "Don't cry till you're hurt," so I understand that completely. I'm curious, is there anything been done to reduce potential pickleball noise for homes around the Gateway Guardhouse? And is anything being done proactively? Will there be any walls built? Will there be anything done to reduce potential concerns if I do need to cry?
You want to answer?
If you'd want to.
As far as I know, the board has not looked into a wall. We did talk about a landscape buffer, which is what we talked about last time that you were here, if you do recall that. I do believe that I reached out to you a few times regarding Hampton Park, right?
Yes.
I did go over with the sheriff's office and take noise readings from the closest address abutting the, I guess the across the way, the FPL easement from the park. So I have those as a baseline for when the pickleball courts, do come and do start. But there will be fencing. There's not mesh netting proposed as of yet. That could always change, but there is fencing around each court, and then there is existing landscaping out there now. We've talked about putting a landscape hedge along that side of the FPL easement, but to date, there has been no costs associated to that or proposed plan adjustments to the contract with OAK to do so.
Out of curiosity, the three courts that Hampton has you have three courts in Hampton?
Yes, over by the amenity
Yeah.
center.
What do they do to buffer sound?
I don't know.
And that was.
And have you addressed your concerns with them as well?
They're not a concern to me.
Yeah, because I'm not arguing with you, but here's the courts there. It's sitting right in the middle of Hampton Park.
Right.
Here's where our courts are going, and there's a
Can
whole
you-
FPNL easement
If you-
across.
On the lower right-hand corner of your video there, no, go down now. Anyway, our house is right there.
He's on the end of the court.
Our house is closer to the new pickleball courts than the other pickleball courts. So, those pickleballs, there are 3 pickleball courts versus 12 pickleball courts that are coming. So we're
We're looking at it, but I'm just saying, if your concern is the sound with the pickleball courts, I would imagine you'd want to address if Hampton Park was doing anything.
As I said, don't cry till you're hurt.
Yeah, no,
And the pickleball courts over by the amenity center are not an issue to me, but.
Because they're so far away.
Yes,
that
correct.
You can't hear 'em.
They're far enough away and there's enough, go ahead.
What is it, about 800 feet from your house to the courts, proposed courts?
To the new courts, yes.
To the new courts, about 800 feet?
Yeah.
I know you do have a meeting today at your community. I have spoken with some of the board members in there, and I know you have a revolving door, so I don't even know if they're still there. I did ask if are they willing to replant some of those they have a fire bush and then some plantings on that area that just has extended their life cycle. They're there, but it has I asked if they were willing, to do anything, and I never got a response back. And then I guess that's when you turn over to a new president, and I think 2 over. So the door for me is open, and for this board is open. It is a partnership, and to your point, I don't hear, I mean, I work closely with Keith, and I know how involved he is with the community as well, and Justin. I don't hear much complaint about the current pickleball courts within the residents that are adjacent to it. If anything, I do recall they wanting to utilize the courts more often. Last year, they went into changing the courts to a different type of amenity, and they wanted to stay with pickleball.
Because they're not
pickleball.
used a lot?
They are.
Oh, okay.
And that's, they wanted to change it
used
to
one
something
day.
else and then some. So I think our door is open for your HOA to partner with us, but as of right now, I don't like to speak on behalf of the board. I speak on myself, but we're not looking to put in a barrier wall. Landscaping buffer is something that we always talked about, and it's on the table. When that's going to take place, I don't know. We don't know exactly.
We
what-
are cleaning up the FPL easement, anticipating the grand opening, so any invasives and things like that. There's some culvert pipes that have been apparently abandoned, discovered. So we're working on cleanup before we can work on plan of future, if any, if landscaping would be the recommendation.
But I'll suggest today, if you have time to go to your meeting and ask your board to, what steps are they willing to take proactive and so forth.
We've spoken with Jason. And, yeah.
Justin, yeah.
Justin,
Well, I
yeah.
think Keith is your president. I think Justin is one of your, so whatever the direction of your board goes, right?
If you talk about landscaping, that just seems to me to be a no issue. We're beside the Calusa hedge. The Calusa hedge was put in like 10 years ago, and is only now up to a point where it might be somewhat of a noise abatement. So I don't think landscaping's gonna have, after the pickleball courts are done, and you got 12 pickleball courts operating, adding landscaping is something 5 years down the road, and I'm already 81. So I'm just concerned about the possible resale value of our home if pickleball noise becomes a problem.
I got one comment, Gerald. In Pelican, we just added 12 courts. And part of the consideration of that was we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it away from the residents. They are noisy. I share that with you entirely. I will speak for myself. I will vote for anything that makes sense. If you're reasonable about the noise level, we will make sure you're happy when it's done. I'll leave it at that.
I appreciate that, and that, as you say, pickleball noise is a concern.
It is a concern.
It is a problem nationwide, so.
It is a concern.
I'm not crying wolf.
Nope.
It's just something that,
It's very legitimate.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have next?
One more, same topic, Pamela Rosengard.
I'm gonna speak, but I have a few questions. 12507
State your name,
Astor
if you could
Place.
just state your name for the
Pamela
record.
Rosengard.
Thank you.
Hired. I want to know the hours and of the pickleball openings of this and the lighting. How much lighting is going to be there and if it's going to affect. I'm right next to Naps.
Okay, so you want me to answer this too? Okay. So we do not know what the hours will be yet. And lighting will be within the guideline like with FPL. If something's shining on your property, we have put shields. We have worked with Hampton Park when we did the improvement on the FPL lighting. So there will be nothing no lumens is going to be shining on anybody's properties. The lights and the design of the engineers will be straight downward.
It's directional.
Is directional.
Especially at 800 feet.
But if there is a specific home that will get it, because I know you had issues with the Gateway High School, and that was addressed by the county and by the district, not our district, but that district. So if that comes to it, that it's invading or it's
Light trespass.
trespassing, it is something that will be immediately addressed. That I can assure you. Regarding the hours, we do not know the hours of operation
I
yet.
would not know that in a plan for us to know the peace and quiet we're going to get. You know, are you planning on shutting this down at 8 o'clock at night? If you're going to have lighting, you know, that's kind of, you can't sit outside and enjoy your own peace and quiet.
Regardless, we're bound by the noise ordinance,
And
just
that's what
like
I was
every
gonna
other
go.
resident in Gateway is. So the noise ordinance sets the standard of what we can go to. I don't know what that's particularly is off the top of my head, but if you Google Lee County noise ordinance, it should pop right up. But regarding the light trespass, we had to apply for permits. We'll work with you, like Bob mentioned and Flavia mentioned, but we do have requirements that we have to meet with the county with regards to lighting and making sure it's directional, it's pointed down, that there isn't light trespass. I'm not going to say you're not going to see the lights because it's not illuminated now and it's going to be different. It's not going to be what you're expecting like you are right now. So I think we can work with you on this. You have my contact information on the website, on the district's website.
Yeah, I wrote to you also. The other question was, Flavia, you said that we should approach our board and ask them about planting. Hampton Park did not vote to have this put in the area that you put it in this residential area. We've been there. These homes have been here for 20 years. So why would, I'm just asking, why would you expect Hampton Park to pay for hedges and, or a wall or anything to block something that you're causing? You're putting this in, and it's been very quiet for 20 years, and now you're asking,
Good point, Pamela.
yeah.
So let's go back and clarify. So when you purchase your property, before your property, that was already delineated as a park at one point. So buyer be aware, right? So we have to take up on ourselves to be educated and know what we're buying. The same way when I purchased my property, I know it was owned by the district, and I know a school could be there. I was glad it wasn't a jail or Walmart. So that area was always designated for that use. One that took place, so you had 20 years of peace, let's say, because that's what your argument will be. The time has to come to develop and be able to give to the residents something else for their bucks, something else for their needs, that amenities and places to go that they never had, right? So that's what that stands. My conversation, and I'll take a step back, I did not state that you should go and ask your residents, your HOA board to come up with a solution. I specifically asked regarding the bush and the hedge that has extended their life, as you know, by your reserve studies that's on your budget. It's right there. I know because I'm aware. I read it. It has extended its life. You are collecting dues from your residents, and you have an obligation and a fiduciary duty to replace those. So my conversation would be with your board is, you have collected the money for our fees as an HOA. You have a fiduciary duty to spend those monies, and here's the best time for it, because they have to do that. Then you don't have a pool reserve. You have landscaping reserve, and is dedicated for that. So what I'm trying to do is educate your residents, saying that you are also paying money for a HOA that should be used for that purpose. What better purpose than that? No different than 3 years ago when you guys planted, and I assisted you guys that with the cluses on 82 to aid those residents because of the noise barrier. So I think it's just an open communication, know what your requirements are, know what you're paying for, and know what you can get back for the HOA. Does that make sense?
We already know what it's gonna be,
Okay.
because the board it's a revolving door lately.
I know.
So,
And I'm sorry.
No, that's not your problem, but anyway, and they're gonna say that section is not our problem.
And I would understand, so, and that's when you come to your board, and I can have a side conversation with you on that if you want, and I'll guide you on that. And you say, here's our reserves, and you take money for that, and you're obligated to spend monies that way. So instead of spending $50,000 or $100,000 on annual flowers, let's this year make a priority and be proactive and spend money here, because this has extended the life that it has been put in the reserve area. And your board has no say when you have a reserve study done. They supersede your board. So I'll be gladly to sit with you and have a conversation with you and guide you through that step, but that's all I have for you now.
But you're not done talking amongst each other about.
No, absolutely
your
not.
noise control.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, no.
Yeah, no,
Perfect.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
That's all I have.
All right, so let's go through the agenda.
I have a couple things under the public or local achievements and recognitions.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I just want to echo Bob's comment with Jim Latham and the entire pond subcommittee. They have done excellent work over the last year, and it's been a pleasure working with them, and look forward to this upcoming year. Additionally, last month, Randy graduated with his master's in business administration. So I want to give him kudos to that. So good job, Randy. And then just this week, we had a presentation at the shooting club in Pelican Preserve that guided by Patricia, thank you. Patricia, and then we did have,
They were looking for you guys when
What are we shooting?
when you were doing all those 3-2 votes. That's why they
Is it
formed it.
Thursday at 6?
That's why they formed it. Never mind.
but there was a great effort put together separately with Bob and Randy and Patricia and Carol. But I have to commend those of you who attended that meeting, and I think it was a great success over there, educating the Pelican residents. So that's all I have for local achievements and recognitions.
And Randy was a great help on that, too.
Good, thanks. Good to hear. Mastered it? Okay,
right.
I'm done.
The advisory committees and items to report. So we have the PPAC, the PRAC monthly report. Does anybody have any questions, any feedback on that?
Don't we have when's our scheduled, don't we have them coming in?
This is their report. They don't come
They
in
don't
person.
come,
If you
they-
want them to come in person, I can ask them that they send a representative at,
That would be
I thought
nice.
they were coming in February.
Yeah.
Like the 19th or
the
something.
you have a joint session with them.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about in
Okay.
February, because
yeah.
one of
I thought you
one of
said
their
the
issues
report
was
coming.
more transparency, communications, clear direction from the board. So I thought we addressed that by having them, and inviting them in for a joint session, which we have in February, so. Okay.
All right. Pelican Preserve, any other questions on their report?
I move on agenda items 8A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. All the minutes.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, let's go ahead and move to the consent agenda items.
I move on consent agenda items 9A, B, and C.
Question on C.
Yeah, just make it A and B so we can talk about C.
I don't have any problem with A and B.
Okay, A and B.
Okay, so we have a motion to concession. We don't have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, let's go ahead and put C to a vote.
C. Got a bad feeling. Anytime you have a contractor that's $200,000 and $200,000 bid and $200,000 short of the next two bidders, and he's also got a track record, at least so I've been told, a track record of perhaps not performing work in accordance with the contracts.
That's not accurate, but
I'm sorry?
that's not accurate.
Okay, that's just only what I've heard. The issue is that this would be one that, Tony, our expression of the best and,
Lowest, most responsible, responsive, qualified, competent bid and bidder.
if I wound him up and have it right. Knowing that, I could see a lot of room and latitude to go to the second or third bidder. I want to know from staff, has this contractor, did he condition his bid on this project?
I'm not familiar, what,
Did he bid on doing the work in accordance with the plans, or did he condition his bid?
no, it was
He's-
bid.
He bid it as is,
Yes.
no conditional.
And that was reaffirmed by Tetra Tech.
Okay.
Now, although Tetra Tech did not provide a letter of recommendation to the committee or to the district, the pricing was confirmed.
Tetra Tech didn't give us a recommendation on this bid?
They provided, Stephen's here, but they provided a letter, but it wasn't necessarily recommending any one particular company.
Okay, Stephen, do you have any input?
Hey, good afternoon. Stephen Agapi, Tetra Tech District Engineer. So we provided a letter. When I discussed the low bidder MRI, I state that we're hesitant to recommend them as the low bidder. My first initial thought was the price was very low. 2 ponds in Pelican have been completed in 2025 with the same method, and we received 2 bids from Extreme Divers to do that work, and we also received 2 bids from Copeland to do the same work. Brad completed those jobs, but the prices on those from Copeland and Extreme Divers were $125 for Copeland, and Brad were right around $125 a linear foot. And MRIs on this is $77 a linear foot, which, it seems like it's low, but I did talk to them. I asked the questions. We went through the scope of work. He confirmed that their price does match the scope of work. But even so, I still have reservations. They did complete the 4 lakes we had in Gateway. We've seen good contractors, we've seen mediocre contractors, we've seen contractors that pee in the lake and spray paint the grass. I don't think MRI is the worst contractor. I think we've definitely have had better contractors to work with. So that's why I'm hesitant to recommend them as the low bidder. The second low bid, we summarized that their proposal was to essentially do something different than we had proposed in our plans and specifications. So in our opinion, they should be disqualified, which, that would make Brad Extreme Divers the second low bid, which it is a big price difference. So I didn't really have a lot to work with there. You have a very low price, which can be appealing, but then, so that's why that's kind of where I left it. I just kind of stuck. So that's.
Hold on, can I ask a question, Stephen?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Stephen, did MRI or staff, did MRI state what they attribute their lower bid to? Is it better material costs? Is it more efficient,
He
construction?
claims they will be able to get the work done in a quick amount of time. So I think they're hoping that they'll be able to get in and get out.
Okay, so they're attributing their lower costs to shorter time span, which is reduction in labor costs, maybe some other.
Doug, you're not suggesting we challenge a guy because he gives us a low bid, are you?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand, like,
Okay.
if I came in and I was lower and significantly, I would want to be able to justify why my bid's lower. I get a better
As a-
material cost.
As the
or
bid
I'm more
recipient,
efficient, or-
I'm
You
just
don't
happy
care, you're
to
just
save
like,
the
"That's
200
all."
grand.
No, but,
Be happy today, but sorrow tomorrow.
If I can remind you,
The issue I want to make sure is that they didn't make any indication that they had an error in their bid, correct?
They were very confident in their numbers.
Okay. And second of all, the work they have done, do they have any type of a track record on change orders coming back for extras?
I
Stephen,
don't.
the last 4 lakes that they did, they actually came in $30,000 under what their bid
the only
was.
change order they had
That
was for
was-
additional time.
They didn't complete it like cheaper. It's just because we had owner allowance that we probably didn't use.
Right.
But I mean,
So
Paul
the-
can speak
good
to
news.
this. I mean, we definitely had to go back and forth on the punch list many times to get the work completed to our, satisfaction.
Which is what we expect of engineering and staff.
And they did again complete the bid on the basis, or submit the bid on the basis of the specifications, no alternates, no changes.
Yeah, we went through it, from beginning to end and made sure he understood what the project was. In my opinion, he seemed to have a full understanding of what we expect.
So if,
Stephen,
if-
one last question. The last work, the punch list, was it within an average or acceptable threshold as far as volume?
I would say it was more than we typically have to deal with, but I mean, we worked through it. I think we had to give them an extension on time to complete it, but they were able to do it.
So if I can remind you all, when you awarded MRI their ponds last year, similar situation, and staff is recommending you award this. It was recommended by ponds, like you heard earlier from Jim. Yes, it was somewhat controversial, but they did make the recommendation. PPAC has made the recommendation. And so ultimately, it's coming in front of you to award to the low, most responsible, all of the fun language Tony loves, bidder.
It has to be objective, can't be subjective.
Everybody-
You have to articulatable facts to support it.
Everybody has concerns. I have concerns. But on the other hand, I got somebody who wants to do it for basically 55% of what we've been paying. I'm going to give them a shot.
Well, I think ultimately, from my perspective, is the dollar amount is extremely attractive.
Yeah, we can do more ponds.
There is some maybe assumed risk, but honestly, if staff, if it's a recommendation of staff, to me, that burden of responsibility falls on staff
Right.
and our engineers.
Yep, absolutely.
So unless Tetra Tech says we do not recommend, it is their responsibility and staff's responsibility to make sure that the work gets done with on time, on budget, and without any
And
issues
although
or outside of what would be
Tetra Tech
considered
did
normal.
not recommend MRI, they didn't recommend anybody. So it's kind of a, you know,
Well, and additionally, we do have a bond for this project. If the contractor does not perform, we have a performance bond that they submitted as part of the bid package. And if they do not perform per the contract, we can always go through that process and call on it.
Okay.
So I think the burden has now shifted to staff
Yes.
to
It's
make
always
sure that
It's always
this,
It's always been.
that this pond comes in correct.
Yes, ma'am. And Jim, you will stand up here in 6 months.
well, we can afford to work him. He's free.
Exactly.
So again, I
Jim
move
is
on
a-
agenda item 9C.
Stephen, you had something to say?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so
the
we
mo-
have a
the mo- so-
motion,
So the motion is to accept staff recommendation?
Yes, I'll second it.
we have a motion, and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Aye. Okay,
So we have 4-1.
I think this is dangerous.
District engineer, Stephen.
Hi again. All right, so task authorization update. All right, first up is irrigation pump station generator. That has, the construction is complete. We're just finalizing paperwork and permit closeout. Irrigation enforcement improvements, still working through on different avenues for funding. The Lower Hawthorne well, the construction has been complete. We're working on closing out the LDO permit. FY24 Lakes, that project will be removed by the next meeting. We've closed that one out. All the permits have been closed. They all passed inspection with the county. FY25 Lakes, we had our kickoff meeting today with Met Tower. They're planning to start sometime in mid-February at the last two lakes in Daniels Preserve. Lake Bank Restoration, HMGP, that's the 21 lakes that we're seeking funding from HMGP for. We're currently in design. We plan on wrapping up design by April. Pelican Preserve, Pond 43, we will work with MRI to set up a pre-construction meeting and get them rocking and rolling since we've got perfect water levels to start construction. Pelican Preserve Boulevard Mill and Overlay. Me, Paul, one of my inspectors, we met with the safety and security lead in Pelican earlier this week, and we drove the road and we made some observations, which is going to help us with our design for that. The road itself looks pretty good. It's definitely starting to delaminate in some spots. There's some old patchwork and potholes, but the road itself looks pretty good. I don't think we'll have any issues milling and resurfacing that. There is a fair amount of cracks in the valley gutters, especially around some of the inlets. So we'll be making recommendations to replace the valley gutter on that road.
When do you expect that to physically start? The work, somebody showing up there?
Summer.
Not till summer?
Yeah.
Summer.
Because FPL is
Yeah.
just about done with the lighting.
Right. Yeah. We saw them pulling some cable out there earlier this week. They've got some old poles to remove. We should be done with our plans and end of this month or early February and have a permit, 30 days after that. And then, when you guys want to bid it and construct it based on, whatever works best for the community, I guess we'll talk about internally.
Okay, I guess
Yeah.
I'm a little confused, Stephen, because I thought the actual construction was going to start after Easter.
Yeah, it can. I mean, I'm saying
So that
we'll
it
be
would
done with
still be
the-
in dry season.
Yeah, it certainly could. We'll be done with design and permitting before then. So after that, it's just a matter of deciding when we want to bid it and award a contract. So if the desire is after Easter to start construction, then we can work around that.
It's going at some point after Easter. It's just the timing between permitting and then bidding and then awarding contract and then getting on their docket. So we will not be doing this project until sometime after Easter. It might not be immediately, it might be more July, but that's the plan.
Do all those things in 60 days.
Well,
They're really fast when
if you go
start.
to the very last column, the anticipated completion date isn't till October. of this year.
That's
And-
Tetra Tech's task authorization. Their,
Oh,
their
okay.
stuff, not, yeah,
Never
not the
mind.
project.
Okay. Well, keep going.
We're working on it.
Okay.
Sherman Soccer Complex, we did submit the plans for county review and for South Florida's review. So we're just waiting to hear back to see if they have any comments that we can address. Public Works building relocation, that storage building, we are planning to submit the building permit, the ERP to South Florida, and the DO to Lee County within the next 2 weeks. Gateway Commons Park and Admin Building, the contractor is making some repairs to the walls. They're flying trusses currently. They've gotten most of the underground utilities complete. They've started grading the parking lot and the sport complex. So that's a construction update for that one. We're, processing RFIs as they come in. I don't know if there's anything else I missed, Chelsea, on that one.
Yep, that's good.
So when is it supposed to be done?
For the contract, substantial in June, final July.
And will it?
As of right now, yes. Next week, you can ask me then too.
When's the roof going on?
Trusses are flying, half of it, the staff side wing, the trusses are up.
Next up is CCTV sewer. All of that work has been complete. Staff found the last manhole by hidden links. It was buried next to the monument wall. So they were able to locate that. We've drafted a report for that, and we're working on a task authorization now to do the repairs. CCTV storm, the contractor has remobilized and they're out there working, I believe, in Stony Brook right now. They're having better luck with the lower water levels, so it's a little bit easier for them to dewater the pipes and get their job done right now. GIS support services, this is an ongoing task with staff and our GIS team to develop GIS maps for all the different facilities that Gateway owns, and we're plugging away on that. Development updates, Daniels Parkway Apartments. We met with the engineer today for that one and went over some more comments. We're on our 8th submittal from them, and we returned our comments to them today. And hopefully, they want to see that in front of the board in February, but we'll see if they can get all of our comments satisfied by then.
So, Steven, can we pause
Yep.
real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
Long story short, Timberwood Preserve, this finger road that's right here that abuts Daniels Parkway Apartments that we had originally a year and a half or so ago told them to go ask if they could tie into their irrigation system because they're a master metered community. Timberwood Preserve is willing to turn over their irrigation line to the district. And so ultimately, if that were completed, then Daniels Parkway Apartments could tie into our irrigation system. 6-inch. I think it's, Steven, 6 or 8?
Oh, you caught me. I don't know.
No, it's either, but they did, Tetra Tech ran the modeling and it will meet the needs of Daniels Parkway Apartments. So
6-inch, Will?
it's either a 6 or 8. Yeah, I'm not.
8, I can understand.
Yeah.
6.
So
It's right next to the plant. It's got a lot of pressure, and we ran the hydraulic model based on the demands they projected and, existing conditions at peak flow, and there wasn't a major pressure drop with that connection added there.
So ultimately, later on, I'll be asking you under district manager items if we could take the next steps working with the HOA on getting that main turned over to the district. So just as a heads up. Go ahead, Stephen.
Santa Luz, I will let Tony speak to that one. Garrett FM, they received the odor control unit this week. They've got to install that at the lift station, and they need FP&L to provide power to the lift station. Next step is to do a startup test for the lift station, and then we can start turning over utilities probably in the next month. That's all I got.
Anything for Stephen?
I have nothing. Bob? Nothing.
Steve, you've got the profiles for the upper end of the driving range yet?
I'm having staff look, I did get them this week. I'm having our guys take a look at them, make sure they're good, and then we're gonna pass them along.
I do meet with the club and their engineer next week.
Yeah, I've heard they're getting somebody. I've never heard of them before. You know anything about them?
I do know him.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to see the profiles, see what we're working with.
Anything else for Stephen?
When's your meeting with
Next-
with the club?
Tuesday.
I will make an effort to have them to you before then.
Thank
Do
you.
you know who their engineer is?
Michael Herrera.
Who?
Michael Herrera.
Used to be with
Grady
Grady
Minor.
Minor, I believe.
Yeah.
See what them?
He started his own company.
You know him, Steve?
No, I mean, well, I do know him. He was working on he did the site plan for whatever we were trying to do up by the soccer fields.
He also worked on, down in Fiddler's Creek, he worked with restorations after Hurricane Irma, a lot of the fencing and infrastructure that was damaged.
Nothing else? Thank you, Stephen.
Yep. Have a great night.
Hey, Steve.
All right, admin agenda. Is any way that we can move 11C forward?
Can we, Stephen Bloom is online. This is his item. Can we just, if you want to just do this quick?
And then we have the parking people here.
That's what I wanted.
I wanted them to do their presentation and then that'll roll into
Okay.
parking.
All right, Stephen, you're up.
Okay, well, good afternoon and Happy New Year to everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the first quarter financial results. Obviously through December. So a very solid start to the year. Kind of looking through the numbers, starting with revenue. 88% of the annual assessments, which obviously affects, both the debt service funds, general fund, and Pelican Preserve. So about 88% collected so far for the year, which ironically is the exact same percentage it was through December of 2024. So, again, it's a very solid start. Obviously, there are, a couple more months of discounts before, the final bill is technically late for assessments. But again, very good start. In general, if you kind of look at the revenue, everything is kind of off to, again, it's still only the first quarter, but a very solid start. One thing I did want to point out on the revenue on the top right side where we allocate between the different categories, the interest that's the file that's in the agenda is a little bit overstated. The total revenue, the 17.86 is correct, but there was actually a little bit more of the money that belonged in the miscellaneous income than the interest. So the interest should have been about 212,000 for the first quarter. I apologize for the error, but I wanted to mention that, obviously to everybody new, but again, as you compare that to last year through the first quarter, we had about 277,000 in interest income for the first 3 months. So, I mean, look, it just kind of shows you, as the Fed fund rate goes down, obviously that affects the interest income. When you look at the details of your investment portfolio, that's why you'll see a lot of T-bills and some other different things that try and hold on to the current interest rates a little bit longer, for a longer period of time as these rates go down. But did want to mention that again, assessments is looking very solid within your revenue and within your budget. Obviously, you have some loan proceeds that will develop further. You have some use of your bond proceeds from prior bonds, as well as fund balance. So there are a lot more different avenues of funding this year than you had in prior fiscal years. And again, a lot of that is for projects, and we've obviously went through quite a bit of that through the budget process. So now looking at the expenses, again, really a lot of solid numbers here. As you can see, the numbers are, under 10%. There's still a lot of developing as you get only through the first quarter of this. Your Debt service, a lot of those actual principal and interest payments, you know, don't have as many of those in the first quarter, or most of them are either September, and then you'll start seeing some of those come up in March, you know, the kind of the tail end of your first quarter into your second quarter, as well as the momentum that you'll start to see on your capital projects. Otherwise, when you kind of look at the general fund, the Pelican Preserve, the core basis of it, very solid again, albeit through the first quarter. Okay, so other information, kind of the last third of the report. And on the left, again, is your interest income, with again being really the corrected total is 212,000. The box on the right, the bottom right there, your carry forward. This is the one that you know, we usually spend a little bit of time talking about. Let me kind of walk you through what these numbers are, what they mean, what they don't mean. Obviously, again, this is your carry forward from last year coming into this year. This is your unaudited carry forward, which again means that they're, you know, your auditors are actually currently working on your audit, as you know, the timeline for that. So these numbers will change. And again, subsequent quarterly reports, we will continue to update these numbers as things change. But the idea with this particular table is just to kind of show you from your operating standpoint from last year, you know, what got carried over, you know, what's available. And these numbers exclude any reserve transfers. And I say that specifically like for the enterprise fund, you know, that number, again, we put you put money into maintenance, you put money into, you know, other reserves. Money goes into your expansion reserve related to connection fees. So that money does come out. Any of our bookkeeping, like non-cash type stuff comes out of that number. You'll notice like for the Pelican Preserve, I did not include anything that related to the bond payout last year, because again, you had money going out to pay the bond, and then there was assessments after the bond was paid. There was still some money come in, and that came back in. But so this is really more about your operating. You know, some of this money then can be used for other projects, but it's just a tracker for you to give you kind of a rough idea of how you did last year. You know, net of all of this stuff that we talked about, and even net of any projects maybe that were started last year that didn't finish and are carrying over into this year. Try to take that money out of there as well. So again, very solid numbers. I was most encouraged, by the way, by the enterprise fund, and not so much because, you know, of the dollar amount, but as you know, when we talked about the budget, we needed to make sure that the rate study was going to be generating additional money, maybe not so much for fiscal year 2025, but and even for part of 2026. But as you know, moving forward into 2027, 8, 9, you have new loans that are going to be coming online. So if we didn't have, you know, a carry forward in the enterprise fund, then that would have been a cause for concern. So it's very good to kind of see that what we expected has occurred. And again, that really puts you into a better position for your enterprise fund for maintenance. And that's kind of the report for the first quarter. Again, it's you know, it kind of is, as we've talked about before, it's a slow burn as you get into through the first quarter because of holidays and stuff. Obviously, things will pick up as we get into the next quarterly report, which would be then mid-year. You'll have a much better idea as to where things are, and but certainly as we build into the start of the budget season.
So I do just want to call out, thank you, Stephen. I do just want to call out the interest earnings because those, we do budget for some interest earnings every year, but historically we've well under budgeted those, and we've
Except for this year.
this year. So we're coming in line where we expected, but those fundings could be used for initiatives that you have, if we have projects that have overruns. If you have new initiatives that come about during the year, I know that there's been some talks about some sidewalks here at the soccer complex or even over off of Tree Line. So just keep that in mind when you see some of these numbers. But thank you, Stephen.
Better than being in the hole.
Yes, very
Yes.
much.
It's because I'm tight. No.
She's not wrong, though. Okay.
All right.
All right. Anything else for Stephen about the quarterly financial?
No, thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
You're
Ian.
welcome. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right. We've got premium parking here.
I have a presentation I gotta
Got a
pull up.
presentation we got to pull up if you give us a second.
Why is it doing that? No, I don't. You're gonna have to, I'm your clicker.
Okay, so I'm gonna be looking over.
Click, click,
Okay.
click. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chairperson Walsh and Board of Supervisors. We respect your time, and we're going to try to be as brief as possible and give you as much information. You know, you have a tough decision in your hands, which is policy. I'm here just to introduce our company, tell you what we do and what we've done for other cities and Lee County, which we're under contract, and tell you the different functionality of our system. Next one. So the most important person here is Barron. Barron lives 30 minutes away, so we never start or we never are in a city that we don't have support nearby. I'm Chester Escobar. I'm the Regional Vice President for the Southeast, and then we've got Emily out of the Tampa, Orlando market. So this is it. This is our team down here. We brought them all, and we're ready to go. Everybody else on the corporate side is important as well. The ownership is only, it's 2 individuals. We're not publicly traded. We are a privately owned company, and our headquarters are in New Orleans. We started this in 2005, right where Katrina came in, so we're very used to adversity as a company. But in 2013, we built what is now premium parking software and platform. Go ahead. We're in 125 cities, 1,400 locations, and these are some of our biggest partners. What's important to point out is that all of them require parking to do business with them, but they require a high level of customer service. So we wanted you to understand that, and that's why we wanted to put these up. You know, everything else is just giving you the magnitude of our company, and that, you know, just to give you an example, or just to give you some perspective, we're 1,400 locations strong. The largest parking operator in the country is about 3,900 locations. So we're right in the medium-sized company. Go ahead. These are just some of our locations: City of Annapolis down at the bottom, Memphis, Lee County, and of course, South Florida. So we started with the understanding that we wanted to get away from gates. And that's how our business got started. We didn't think that gates is where we wanted to take our business. And so the technology took us to a free flow environment. So for the flow, if you go to a Florida Marlins game, you're going to have a free flow environment. Why? Because we want the person to get in as quickly as possible and to get into their venue. That's been our premise all along. Go ahead. You know, Darren, is that you or me?
That's you still. But
Oh, okay, sorry, no, I'm good. Here are the reasons why we've been very successful in these 1,400 locations. No capital investment from you all. You know, we generate you know, new revenue streams for cities and municipalities, and you know, our compliance management. So the software, which usually what you end up doing is you end up getting the software for enforcement from one person, the payment platform from another, and everybody has a take on the revenues. For us, it's just we are, you know, we built this out for you all because we needed it as operators. And then how it works, that is you.
Sure. Hey everyone, Baron Steckler. So how it works, it's really simple. You know, we do the free flow model. So obviously you guys don't have gates, so it would work all right off the bat. But we would install signs to educate the patrons when they arrive on site. They would know how exactly they are able to pay, what's the easiest method for them, and they would actually be able to make the purchases through our signs. There are signs with the QR code so they can pay through their phone from the sign themselves. And that is, really where our flexible payments, we have so many different options, whether it's through phone, the website, pay by text, call customer service themselves. They can help you over the phone if you don't, know how to use the website. So there's 5 different options. So we wanted to make it as flexible and ease of access for everyone who could come to the complex. And then, of course, we, as a team, talked about the residential permitting side. I know we were going back and forth on whether, residents would pay a reduced price, a lower price. With our system, it's very flexible. That's something we can set up in 5 minutes and change in another minute. So whatever we do decide, or however we want to approach the problem, not a problem, but the complication of who's going to be paying, is it a resident, is it a Lee County, is it different for them? So that's something very flexible in our system. Next slide. All right, so here's some images of our signs. We would actually work together to pick which signs would work best for your complex, whether we want welcome signs and exit signs, whether we want pedestrian press signs, or simply bare bones, we don't want to pollute the view. We want just the QR code and compliance signs. So we would work together, design a sign plan, and then my team would go out and get that all set up. We would do installation ourselves. All right, this is just a little mock-up I did. This is a sign plan that we would send to you guys for, back approval. Basically just marking out where we would put the signs themselves. And it's, again, very flexible. If we wanted to just do the outside perimeter, if we wanted to actually put signs in between the rows of cars, we could always make those adjustments as well. Okay, this is pretty cool. Our fraud guard. So this is something Premium Parking designed. It's their system. Essentially, it protects our customers when they are using our signs. I'm sure you've seen in the news, there's times where scam artists will put stickers over a QR code or whatever it may be. This protects our patrons. So essentially, it just tracks if there's any irregularities, it would notify us. We would be able to then protect.
So this is actually really cool. I do want to touch point on that. It actually automatically shuts off that QR code. So for instance, my properties in downtown Orlando, they get used on average minimum, not including overnight. It automatically turns the QR code off. No. Inside, if they scan that sign, it'll let them know. Trying to make it easier on the guest, and then also no other company can do this right now. They're all
and then building a culture of compliance. We're as possible for our patrons. We give them and we install the signs so that we can educate them. It's really just about making sure everyone ease of access, and then of course has a good okay, so this is just a little example. So I work with Lee County, and we do a lot of sales on certain locations. So this is what the enforcement agent would see on their end. They have their own username and password to sign in. They would be able to then select the location they're actually doing enforcement upon. In this instance, it would be a soccer complex, so they would just scroll down to that option, Once they select that option, they will have a list of all the vehicles that were entered into the system, right? Anyone who had paid. So on that last image there, you'll be able to see the actual license plates. And then when you click upon that license plate, it would tell you if they had paid, what time they had paid, when their session expires, if they're in compliance or not.
So what happened through the years is that people are using their cell phones more and more. And so we wouldn't have been able to do this in the past simply because of the usage of the cell phone. So now the cell phone has become that much more important. So that's why we see now that the compliance rate is where it needs to be. You park, the first thing you do is you look around and you see how you pay, and you move on. This is our product. This is our entire platform. So everything from the top are all the products that we're able to do for you. So everything from short-term validations, permits of any kind, all of our permits have a defined parameter. The different channels, we can put pay stations that are all integrated. So there's a lot of ways that we can deploy our system. And then the tools is, the information now coming into our system that gives you the ability to take a look at it in a dashboard. So you're able to see what's going on in your facilities on an ongoing basis. And then down at the bottom, we have 24/7 call center. So, and this is in New Orleans. And then the dashboard and everything else. So this is what you get when you bring us on board. Go ahead. That's it. We wanted to be short and simple, give you a lot of information. I will tell you that, we have a license with Placer AI. Placer AI is a company that tracks cell phone coverage or cell phone usage of people coming into this particular area. So we did a 12-month look back just to see, and this is, you could be walking, so it doesn't mean that there's cars in here. But what it showed us is that out of all the visitors that came to this particular area, so we put a geofence, about 16% are residents from this zip code. So you were talking about who are, and this 16%.
Wait, can you say that again?
I know,
when you
I
say-
just woke
hold
up
on.
and I was awake.
Geocode, what's the range of the geocode?
Oh, just this.
Just the soccer
the
complex.
field.
So based on the.
And that includes.
Well, but.
That also includes your high school, because I don't think we could have gone it that close.
And are you talking, how do you track that? Is it
It's
based on
cell
the
phones.
area code of the cell phone?
Placer AI tracks.
I don't know what he's talking
This is
about.
exactly what retailers use to see foot traffic. And so it gives you a pretty good idea. It's not perfect, but it gives you a pretty good idea.
It kind of gives you like within 5 miles, like the people that are coming here, they live within the 5-mile radius of this, 10-mile radius, because that's what we use at our.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got the actual zip code. So we actually put your zip code of the person. Go ahead.
But it's not based on a cell phone number.
No, so
No,
the way that
it's-
it
okay.
works is
Movement.
like,
Yeah.
whenever you go into Apple Maps, right, and you allow it access to your location, Placer AI is then pulling that information.
Can I just ask you to step this way a little, because this microphone is picking up all your guys.
So over time, it identifies you as your permanent location because they're going to say approximation, you spend 80% of your time in this location, so therefore it's your home address.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
So
get
16%?
16.
From this zip code, and then 35% from Fort Myers.
Fort Myers is the other, but this zip code is 16%. Yeah. So
33913, it's gateway in outside of the bounds of the district geographically speaking.
it doesn't mean, and it also takes into consideration people that are walking by. It takes into consideration people that are going to the dog park. So it looks at all that. But that's what
Okay.
we were able to find. And that was a 12-month, trailing 12 months, so that we have some current information.
That doesn't sound right.
33913.
So what happens if somebody parks and they don't pay? They just park there and,
So we
you
would
know,
work, yeah.
I'm going to go to my grandkids' game.
Yeah.
And this is probably the only one I'm going to this year, so I just go there, I park, I don't pay,
Yeah.
and I get in and leave. What
Sure.
happens?
Well,
Or does anything happen?
yes, but it's determined by you all. We talk to your staff and we determine what type of an enforcement strategy you want to use. And it's the whole gamut. It is a warning on their windshield, to towing, to booting. I mean, that's where policy is made, and then we just adhere to it, whatever you all want us to do.
So
Yes.
can you walk us through like a use case? So I understand you scan the QR code, the pay aspect. But what I'm not getting is, okay, individual drives their vehicle into our facility and they park. How do you collect, capture, and identify each vehicle and when that vehicle leaves versus when a new one comes in? Like, what is the mechanism of capture?
The plate,
Yeah, but how are you?
because they have to enter the plate.
Maybe a camera or something.
No,
It's the
but
plate.
So we're not putting cameras here because you have too many entrances. So this is going to be through scanning. So you take,
So an
you do
individual
our
is walking
enforcement.
around.
Yeah.
And so we've got an individual, and it's their job to literally walk around and just scan vehicles. That's what they're doing. They're just
Yep.
walking around. And based on that scan, the system will say, that vehicle has been here for an hour, they are paid through X amount of time.
They have
Or
permit,
they're
whatever,
expired,
yeah.
or, okay. So it is a manual process of capture.
It could
at
be
this point.
manual. That's what we recommend here because you have too many entrances.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. All right, I get that.
So,
Is this person employed by the district or by you?
No, it's us.
By us?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we could specify, like, okay, the rate, the range, resident, non-resident. I mean, personally, I think,
15 minutes,
I'd say anyone that pulls in, you pay you pay $2 and it's good for the duration of your stay. Or even if it's $1, I mean, whatever that is. I'm not a big fan of doing 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I say,
No, I was saying like if it's 15 minutes, I wouldn't even charge anything because that's usually like a drop-off situation, you know what I mean? You would take 5 for the card and it would take 5 minutes to walk over there and 5 minutes to tell them to behave and then 5 minutes to walk back. So
with that, you don't know what time they got to the site.
you would because you would be scanning it and it would say this guy, that, yeah.
but
you
the
just
person
did it.
that pulled in, what would we put a sign and say, your first 15 minutes are free? Everyone's going, well, I'm only gonna be here 15 minutes, and they've been here 2 hours. I mean, it's hard to
But
regulate
they would
that.
know, right? Because you would scan the first time, so tag number 001 was scanned in at 1 o'clock, and they have 15 minutes. So at 1:25, they'll scan it again, and they didn't pay, well, that one's a
No,
violation.
but my point is-
Right, that's how it works.
Yes, but hold on
But
one
I
second.
see what you're
But
saying. Yeah.
what we're trying, because our mechanism of enforcement, we want to encourage when they pull in, build a behavior. When they pull in, they scan, they pay,
Right away.
they're gone.
Okay.
Because if there's a point of decision like, oh, well, if the first 15 minutes are free, I'm only going to be here 15 minutes, or you know what, I don't really care. They're not going to be able to check it. If you don't get that point of sale at the point of the interaction,
So
you're
you
going to
wanna
lose
get
it.
it
So
right
it's
away. Okay.
that's what we have to determine on that piece. But
Yeah, and I was gonna let y'all know, so in the Placer AI info, we also captured the average stay of people at the site. Radius, this may include some people who come in. But on average, 90% of the people who come here stay between. That is a pretty small time frame. That's why, I understand what you're saying, $2 for the whole stay. In my personal opinion, I understand that, but because the average stay is only between 2 and 4 hours. Say that if you did a 2-hour rate up to 4 hours, right? $2 per hour up to 4 hours. The maximum rate is $8, and then over that, you have an all-day rate, right? So we do that at some.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we don't do that.
yeah, but
That
that's
doesn't
policy.
doesn't align with our
That's you
behaviors,
guys-
and it
you
doesn't
guys
align with our
figure that
objective.
out.
Our
Yeah,
objective,
not us, yeah.
I think, out of the gate is to come up with a mechanism for revenue, one that doesn't put an undue burden on our residents or our non-residents. And if I just do the math, I think if we do $2, and I'm only looking at just Friday and Saturday, not for any other reason because I know the numbers. So if we just did $2, and on average, maybe it was $1 an hour. Anyway, but I think we're looking at anywhere from 5 to 20. I think I had $10,000 to $20,000 a month in potential revenue, with it being minimal. Now, Tim came up and he said that this would put a burden. I can't remember what the number was, but I think that's what we have to consider too. It's like, okay, what's acceptable? Is it, $2? If it's, $2 times, you have about what, 400? How many people in Flag? 500. So 500 times $2 just on a Friday night. Okay, that's substantial. On Saturday, soccer has 800. I'm saying if we do full duration, 800. How many do you have?
I mean, there's not 800 cars though. There's not 800.
It's just an average. I mean, you could also say that, Tim made a statement that sometimes families drive 2 cars. Yeah, yeah. Well, we will have to calculate the spaces, and that also opens up, people aren't parking in spaces.
They would just pay to park. It would be a pay to park.
So it doesn't matter if you're on the grass.
Yes, it is
If you're
our
parked around the
property.
corner,
It is
if
our
you're on the
property.
property,
Yes,
you
you
pay to park. Okay, that's fine. But my point is, it will offset, if I just use the numbers, I was, with 400 and 800, I think it's around 10 to 20,000 a month is what we can incur. Now, here's the benefit to the leagues. If we can generate additional revenue, then that offsets
Their cost.
their costs. So either we come up with creative ways to drive revenue, or our only mechanism is to increase the fees to the league. So if I'm Mark and I'm Tim, I encourage the district to get as creative as they can be with their revenue, within reason, right? I think $10 for parking for a flag football game is egregious, but $2, okay, I can deal with that. My personal opinion. If that generates an additional $20,000 times, however many months, whatever, it's not a whole lot of money, but it's better than.
It's 2 years of parking lot.
Yeah.
It's 500. What do we need? $550,000.
And I don't know if the leagues truly understand what we have on our plate. Like, we've got 5 fields. They hit their shelf life probably 5 years ago. All of those fields need to be completely resod. Those lights need to be fixed. Mark and doesn't see it in Gateway because they play during the day. But Tim can tell you, lighting on those fields is not good. Not good. So would you rather justify $2 to park or increase your lease fees?
$2 is gross. We got to take out our expenses of the person that's going to be doing
Right,
that work.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a starting point. I mean, my point is, there are other facilities that charge for parking. Now, you don't really see it for, recreational use, but
The beach isn't recreational.
well, no, I'm talking fields. I'm not talking.
Okay.
I'm not
Pay
talking
an
the
arm and a
beach.
leg to park a
You know,
JetBlue.
But there are other fields. I mean, Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Lakes Park, where you do have to charge to go in. Period. So it's not something that's out of the realm of reason. I just think where we got to do it is just figure out what's the right amount that it would be reasonable.
This is hands down going to lead into the next conversation, the next agenda item. And we've got some numbers to present to you. Laura's got some numbers that she's crunched and some ideas and concepts, but this board has said get to 75% cost recovery. This is an alternative approach to do so. It's fairly simple, little to no capital investment, if any. It's a couple signs. The implementation piece, the most time consuming would be Tony drafting the public hearing notice and getting it out in the paper and us putting together the rules of this. And then obviously going through adoption of that. We have projects on the horizon that, could benefit from this. We've got other facilities. We can have the conversation about parking for residential parking permits at zero cost or low cost versus non-residents. We can talk about day passes, we can talk about seasonal passes. There's the flexibility, and that, I think that's what's driven home by these folks that have driven here to show you today is there's limitless really options here. It's just a matter of, from a policy perspective, is this how we want to proceed with additional revenues at the soccer complex? Or do we want to take a different approach? And that kind of leads into the next agenda item, but I'll pause because if there's any other questions for.
There's one thing, so we can establish the policy and the frequency and the enforcement piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Can you just discuss the board what the plan is for enforcement? So if someone doesn't pay, what do we do?
So again, that's a policy decision. Somewhat, our hands are somewhat tied with regards to enforcement, but we do have the ability to contract with the towing company to boot or to tow vehicles off of our properties. There is the opportunity to.
Booting, I don't know about booting, but towing, yes.
Yeah. So there's that opportunity. We can always send notices to residents that, or if you didn't pay to park, they have a service that can track down that person and send a notice saying, hey, you didn't pay to use our facility on this date, time and date. So that's an option there. So ultimately, it's.
So we've got some work to do on enforcement. I mean, I don't think we want to be towing
It's not
anybody.
like a municipal or county parking code violation where they have.
Where you could send a fine.
It's non-criminal.
It's not like Gateway
citation.
Greens, where they'll just
That's
send you a
correct.
fine in the mail and then you need.
Does Peter have any other local government districts like this?
Well, you will be able
do
to
you?
do lookups. So we will take, depending, if you tell us, hey, after 30 days, if this person didn't pay it off the windshield, and, we can't send them a notice at their home. So there is.
Through their license plate
Through their
lookup.
license plate. Florida
Okay, so we can
allows you
actually
to do
mail
that.
out violations.
Yeah, it's a different step to that, but that's where the policy comes into play. It's how you
But that is
want.
possible, right?
Yes.
Tony, do you
Well,
agree
I
with
guess,
that?
yeah, and I guess the question is, if I may ask,
Yes.
do you have the service contracts with any other independent governmental districts, not cities, but counties in Florida?
Yes.
Which ones?
Well, GTM is not county.
GTM.
It's in Jacksonville. What is your question?
We are an independent special district. We are not a county, we are not a city. We're a local purpose government.
We work with private entities.
Private entities are different, I'm just saying.
But you fall within the same area, because what you're saying is, you're not a municipality.
Or county.
Or a county. So you fall, for us, in our view, you are just like a commercial property. You're like Whole Foods that wants to enforce rules to folks, and they're a private entity. You're in that same place.
I guess
So-
the only question is, do you have contracts with other governmental bodies that are special districts, such as any other community? There are probably 600 community development districts around the state of Florida.
we
The
can look it up.
villages, for example, in,
We don't have.
okay, the villages,
Off the top of my head, we don't have.
okay.
Yeah. But
If you could check and see, and provide to Chelsea.
I can
that'd be
check,
great.
I can show it, and I can tell you what we're doing, but the lookup abilities, or us being able to look up that owner's information and sending them a notice, is in the state of Florida for anybody that has private property. And so you would fall under that same.
How do they
regulation.
collect?
So we send them a notice, and, and then after that, you take, a step forward into an escalation process. If they come back into your property, then at that point, you can tow them.
Right, and I think we are missing, what is our
I'm not
average in
sure.
the state of Florida right now, Chuck, compliance rate?
Well, but I think his point is just regulation, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do also have the dispute process as well, so overseas a bunch of private facilities. Every single facility that has any kind of violations or any kind of compliance or enforcement. We are rated 5 out of 5 on Trustpilot. We're A+ rated on Better. Violation, you can contact either us directly People send out my phone number all the time, or you can contact our customer service department.
But what it sounds like is if they get a notice of violation and they don't pay, our only remedy is to consider them as trespassing next time and saying they're no longer authorized to enter the property until they pay.
We can't find.
That's correct.
That's our problem. We can't find.
We have no finding authority under Florida law.
I understand what you're saying, but in a commercial environment, in a private owner environment, our compliance rate is about 97%. So I understand what you're saying, but people, I think what you're saying is that the
Worst
problem.
case scenario- worst
that the
case scenario.
problem- You're saying that the problem that you're saying that we have in Florida is more than 3%, is what you're saying. You're saying that a lot more people than 3% are not going to pay?
I'm not saying who's paying or not paying, other than if somebody doesn't pay, what is our remedy after they leave? If we don't tow them?
I can give, I'll put something in writing to tell you what our process or what we can do legally so that you can review it. Yeah.
The whole process is very concise, very understandable, looks great. What's it cost? What do we put out or
20%.
pay?
80/20.
80/20 split.
80/20 split.
less our employee.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's gonna
okay.
probably be more like 66 and 33.
Whatever.
Well, they're
It's
already
a,
here.
it's a hell of a
The
revenue
majority of
generator.
the time, they're already here, so just
At
gonna
minimum.
reshift what their
Right,
priorities in
right.
the
They're at.
Okay, thank you. Very impressive.
Hey, just one quick question. For a newer organization that's looking to implement this, what are the couple things that you advise that we consider? Like, what are the things that we're not thinking about, other than like just our resident experience or our participant experience?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we're not thinking about?
What comes to mind, Lee County in particular has a lot of volunteer groups. They're not always communicating with the county themselves. So they will say, hey, we showed up to this parking lot on Saturdays from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. to protect sea turtles. Well, that's, good information to have because we want our cameras turned off. Validate them beforehand. So I would just, I would suggest you just make sure you know all of the individual groups. Do we do events in September every year? Do we have a,
We have the ability to say, okay, during these times, we're not charging. Or let's say if, Mark or Tim have refs, and these are kids, exemptions. Okay, we're not going to charge referees to park, or volunteers, or administrators. We would just need to either get their license plate or, just come up.
Issue them a type of permit.
So I think.
Because it's tied.
So you a permit, would it be a sticker? So if
Nope, think about it.
Okay.
So it's tied to your plate when you pull up to the place and you scan the thing and you already have your car saved with your plate number. You say, hey, I'm here. It tells the system on the back end, hey, they've already been approved as a resident. They have a residential permit. It's valid until 1/1 of 27. So they're good to park. You don't have to
So we have flexibility to pretty much charge whatever we want, to whoever we want, whenever we want.
change the dates, change the times.
We change the rates. I'm just thinking like the holiday event. I know it's a totally free event, but the holiday event that we have, I mean, we
Turn
have.
it off.
I would, I mean, we don't charge for anything, and I don't think us charging for parking, it will subsidize also the cost that we put into the budget to have that event. I think it's minimal for somebody. All those amenities, all those, the structure, the infrastructure that we do offer for that, that's also, something to think about. What do we average, 1,500?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Look, some of the beauty of this system is that it's very scalable. So you can start off, very, with a soft approach, then you can, scale it up. You also have the ability to put up signs in, along the roadway so that people also pay when they park along the roadway. So that's big for us. But I would say in a deployment, when you're taking unregulated parking to regulated parking, it takes a lot of outreach and a lot of stakeholders, and then we would help out with that.
Okay, I have one more thing.
Yep.
So, and I was really concerned with, like, we only have 3 designated parking areas on our property. it's the two actual parking lots, and then the grass along the fence. But people are gonna park wherever, right? So I like the idea. All we gotta do is, if you're on property, you need to pay for parking, we scan you. Okay, great. And we'll work out, whether we approve this or not, whatever. But we also have overflow parking, which is a school next door.
And that's what I was gonna
So
ask.
how do we manage that?
We don't. The school would have to engage with them,
Okay.
or that could be the alternative. If you want to pay to park close because you want to be close to the bathrooms or the fields, you pay here. The overflow is the free lot, just like, I think I used this last time. You go to a Hertz Everblades game, you pay to park if you want to be close to the Hertz Arena, or you park at Miramar and you truck it over and you don't
But
pay
the only thing
anything.
that we need to consider there is, I get that, and I know a bunch of people, probably myself included, I will park over there, but we could be putting an undue burden on them, because then more people are gonna wanna try to squeeze in, find a place,
Well,
so we just have to be careful with
Do you
that.
work with any school district? Is that some, because why wouldn't we just approach the school?
I did, and I have not received a response back.
Okay, I can follow up with you. I can follow up with Rob.
If nothing else, if we can just create an agreement that
They would get the
just
same
during,
thing, yeah.
just during the
Or even that,
operating hours, let's say just Friday and Saturdays, that we will scan and we will charge people for
Let's not
using those.
engineer it here. We like the concept.
Yeah.
the concept,
And we give them a percentage.
What do we need to do now?
So this process would take, next steps, Tony, and chime in at any point.
Actually, we would bring back to the board at the next meeting for discussion, and we could also, well, then the meeting after that, have a workshop to consider proposed rules. I've drafted up a set, Chelsea has looked at it. We haven't really talked about in depth yet. And then the board would discuss, then holding a public hearing, doing a note. We already published a notice of rule development. I may need to modify that. And then we do a notice of rulemaking and a notice of public hearing to adopt the rule with all the parking requirements. And so probably we're talking about March at the earliest, have that in place.
So we still got some work
Well,
to do.
and
Yeah.
to Tim's point, their season is forthcoming. We could slow roll this. We can expedite this. Obviously, after we get all of our ducks in a row with regulations and rules and things like that, normally we have our summer shutdown. We're trying to reduce that window, make it even smaller than the 2 or 3 months that we do now. But we could slow roll it. We could expedite it. It's totally, again, the purview of the board.
I'd like us to move forward and get the information, and at the end, we can still slow roll it if we choose to. I don't want to slow roll getting the process and getting the information and then slow roll again. So I like to get all the information as soon as we can. That doesn't mean that we're going to make a decision by that date that we get an information. We can set that in,
Oh, you
for
can have the
near
rules
future.
on
But
the
I think the
books.
sooner we get it, the better it'll be. I do like to partner with the school and offer this to the school because I don't want to create a burden to the school. And I will reach out to see, like, if they're
Perfect.
willing to do it, if it's 80-20 the same, and kind of just recap it, put you guys in contact with them, and probably roll it out at the same time. If we have to wait a month or so to do it all at once, we do that too.
So let's just say if we formed an agreement with the school, we can say how many cars parked on school property during that time period, what was the revenue that was generated during that time period for a revenue share, correct? Yeah. So
Because we're going to put 2 zones. So we'll have a zone for you guys and a zone for them. So they're paying in 2 different zones.
Okay.
So yes, we'll be able to do that for you.
Perfect, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's.
And then that
And
could
it's really only an agreement
It's a
during the
win-win.
operating time that,
That they're not utilizing the parking.
because that's the only time that we open the gates for them.
And if they
is-
don't want the money, we'll keep it.
Oh, God.
Right.
All
Does
right.
anybody have any other questions for
No,
these
very good
folks?
presentation.
Thank you.
One thing I just want to mention, just because I personally experienced this downtown, is also it's really nice that the app will send you text message reminders like, hey, you're 15 minutes and or if you want to re-up or if you want to, if you're leaving. So it'll remind you, like if your kid's out there playing and they went into overtime and you need to extend your time, you could do so. But
Without going out.
without
to
physical,
the-
you do it right
and
there.
Finding a
Can you
sign
give us some
again. and-
recommended, because my first reaction was, let's just do $2, $1 or $2 for the whole duration. But the more I'm thinking about it, like you said, 1 to 4 hours, it might be 25 cents or 50 cents. Like, I don't know. Can you give us some recommended based on the duration. And if we were to say, 'cause I don't want this to be crazy, you know, like, I almost don't want to charge any more than $1 or $2 total during the experience, right? Because to Tim's point, people have already paid to come and play. And this is not a standard thing that you see in Lee and Collier County. So can you give us an idea of what you think, what you would recommend and is it 30 minutes?
We took a look at your projections, and we took a look at the rate band that you guys all had, and we felt that those were good numbers.
What was the numbers?
I think $2.
$2 an hour.
$2 an hour.
So, but to your point, and we can come back, is if there is that, like, hey, $2 an hour, but if you want, 4 more hours, it's a flat number and it's a all day thing, that's something to think about, because that could
Typically,
alleviate.
that's what it is. It's about an hour for you.
Depends on how many kids they have.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but on average, it's going to be, you're going to come, you're going to stay an hour, maybe an hour and 30 minutes.
So again,
Because you got an hour for the game, and then 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after, so about an hour and a half.
$2
duration.
first hour, $1 every hour, whatever.
Okay, we could talk about that, but
again, flexibility is there. That rate could change, as long as we have the rates adopted on our fee schedule. The only thing I have to ask of you, since we want to draft some of these rules and things like that, is do you want residents free or not?
I would like to know the percentage. I would like for Tim, and then maybe we can reach out to Mark to see what percentage of users, because I
it's
do.
going to be around
I-
50%. It's
Yeah,
going
'cause
to
I
be
think-
between
I think
50 to 60.
16, I don't think 16 is quite, I think that's a little.
Based on the numbers for years and
Yeah.
years and years, it's
I think
probably
16 is
between
not
what,
the
50
number.
and 60%?
Since we stopped doing the
Yeah.
fee, we may consider a differential. It's a good
Residents,
point.
residents are probably anywhere from 40.
Residents a buck and.
I think the
Or
trend
about $2.
was, it was almost 40%.
I don't, to be honest, Doug, I bet you. And Gateway is, Lee County has gotten.
Well,
People are going.
you can also add, if you look at the demographics
Yeah.
in Gateway over the last 20 years, I will say we're probably in a percentage right now where we have just fewer kids
Yes.
in the area than we used to. So I would probably say at 40%, if I were to take a guess, I'd probably say it's between maybe 35 and 40%, but that's what it's going to be, around that.
Let's move on, we got other things to cover.
No other questions?
Yeah, Tony.
Just a question, I guess, from a timing perspective, again, just to, I guess, moving along things in parallel. To have the public workshop on, it's a 14-day notice requirement. So the next board meeting is February 5th, correct? Pardon? And so the board will authorize Chelsea and I to work together on doing it and have a workshop that day on the initial draft of the rule? Is the board inclined to?
That sounds
be
good.
Amenable to
Sounds
that?
like a plan.
That's good.
I'm going to caveat, your aeration workshop's getting booted then.
Or we can make it the 19th.
Oh, this'll be very quick.
I think this, yeah, Tony? I'm sorry, Tony, did I say that out loud?
Yes, you did, that's okay.
If we don't invite Tony, we'll get it over very fast.
So we'll
Okay.
schedule it,
Dave.
okay,
Sorry?
yes.
The 5th?
So, yep.
Okay.
So then, in the meantime, we will work out the agreement with the team and piggybacking the county's agreement, the 80-20 split, and bring that in front of you at a future board meeting.
Sounds good.
Thank you for your time, thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
thanks
patience.
for staying.
All right,
You got it, thank you.
okay.
Safe travels back.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and.
11C?
No, we just did that.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh, 11C, okay, yes.
All right.
There's with a P, I can't read, everything's the same.
Not in Portuguese.
All right, so I put this short analysis together based on some feedback that I got last time. Mr. Tinkle had asked about, like, for the FY26 budget, he wanted to see it with everything and then with capital. So broke it out into 2 sections on here. This comes right out of the fiscal 26 budget. So these are all Parks and Rec expenses in the top, and then the capital is down here that we had. I looked at the soccer portion of it. There's obviously, like, a lot of these things don't apply, so this, whoops, it doesn't highlight.
When we say
nice.
soccer, we're inclusive of flag.
The field,
Of a
anything on the
complex.
fields.
The
The
complex.
fields, yeah, soccer being the field, soccer fields. I just call it soccer because we call that soccer.
We're not picking on you, I promise.
No,
Okay.
it's the soccer fields, the fields. So if you notice, there is here where there's an electric bill, I did not put any dollars in here for electricity because we account for that separate when we bill for the lights. And we were just looking at field usage charges, so I did not include any electric in my
So the electric's
portions
a
here.
pass-through.
Yeah, because they pay that as a separate fee based on how, I mean, obviously they pay for what they use and we only have to pay if they use
So
them.
then,
So I just excluded
Is the
that.
capital amortized, or is that a bond?
This is just at face value right now. We'll get to that. We'll get to your question. This is just the numbers that you guys put in the budget for 26. We
This is-
put
yeah, this is-
10,000 and
Okay,
50,000.
so we're at basically 550,000. And if we're going 75% of
It's right up
550,000.
here. So if you look at this on the right-hand side up here, so for all Parks and Rec, for the capital, for the budget, if I don't have capital, it's 473,000, which is this number here. And then if I add the capital, it's 533. And then I have the asterisk here. We looked at a couple things with the field refresh that adds quite a bit. So that would be the amortized costs to do the field
So if you
refresh. And
take-
there's some options down in the bottom.
I'm trying to get,
right
trying to just
here.
get for these people an idea of our problem. 800,000, 75% of that is what we want to come from them, is we're looking for $600,000. It's that simple. That's why I've sat there and wasn't paying attention to this parking, because you're talking a flea on an elephant's you know what. It's a joke. And I think the park committee saw that. It's a joke. We need to look at something serious, and that serious is let you guys know what our numbers are and what 75% of that is and what we have to have. It's that simple.
So you want to let Laura?
If you want to charge $2 for parking, you collect it, you pay it, and you get it to pay us the $600,000. But for us to get in that, I'm voting no, hell no. I think it's a waste of time. The reality is can you all come up with a plan to pay $600,000 a year to pay the subsidized cost for the operation of this complex? That's the answer, or that's the question. And what is the total that you're paying right now? If you would say,
If you want to have a dialogue, then they
Yeah, I
have.
was gonna say,
then-
yeah, can you come up? Yeah, I want to find out, what is the dollar value if we have, what, Doug, three different teams that are paying this 600,000?
Well,
No, there's more than that.
That's what?
There's more leagues than that. We've got
The
5
majority
or
is
so
being
leagues.
Mark, though.
Okay, so what,
Cruise
my deal is,
Cruise
if
is getting close, so.
use of the field, what percentage are you of the total? 10%, 20%? We got to know these numbers.
Well, I don't know what I don't know what the total is.
I understand.
Eight-
I mean, my staff should know that, but
My guess is about 40, probably 30%.
There's a total of 800, approximately 800.
Well, I can only go based off what they put into Facilitron, so I really have no idea.
But our numbers, based on Facilitron, show us about 800 hours of usage per year.
everybody,
Everybody.
okay, so.
Well, just back into it
800
differently.
hours
Just
of
total,
usage on the field?
back into
No,
it differently.
2,500.
To- Total
No,
number.
hang on,
Total revenue.
time out.
Let it finish, yeah.
Yeah, so I looked at the average rental hours for fiscal 23 and 24 because we were barely into, or it's supposed to be 24 and 25. It says 23 and 24. I verified it is 24 and 25 since we had Facilitron. So the last 2 fiscal years, not counting October to present, there was an average of 2,588 hours of rental. That's just field. That's not lights. That's just field rental and only for
Said
the
lights
leagues.
is a pass-through.
Yes, so
Okay,
that's why I'm
so
just
if you-
making sure that, I didn't include that. This is just hours
but
on the
that
field. So
number is 800,000.
2,588 average rental hours in each of those fiscal years between the last 2 years. So
500 each year or?
that's at
both
the
years
average
combined?
per year.
Okay,
Is
average per year.
2,588 for the last 2
They
years.
say 2,500.
So, and then what I did is I divided the budget number for no capital, and what that would equate out to get 75%, we would need to charge $137 an hour, assuming all things remaining equal.
I think what Ed was asking is, out of that, what's the breakdown of the existing leagues out of the 2588? What percentage of field usage is Tim versus Mark versus,
I have that.
The reason I'm asking, because when you then take that and divide it by the number of kids, and we got what this is going to cost, can you add that to your fee to
Okay,
offset
so what
this
I did,
subsidy?
I looked at the average hours. Each of them did individually reserved, and I actually took the count of participants based on what they put into Facilitron, which you take with a grain of salt. So like for B1, they, in 24, and fiscal 24, okay, so for Tim, Flag, he had 514 and a quarter average hours over the last 2 years, so 514 hours a year.
So you're 20%. You're 20% of the total then.
2,500 total.
25.
You're 25.
Oh, you're right,
20%.
You're right.
Yeah.
So if we're saying 800 or 600,000, you get 20% of 600,000.
She did the math.
120,000.
She's done the math for the per participant thing.
Okay, so
Go ahead, Laura.
So if I figured out, if I take like Tim's, for example, I did Flag, and then with his 514 hours, if we go at the 75%, and I'm looking at the not capital, so just the O&M, it would cost him about 70, let me make sure I'm on the right line, $70.45 per person, per participant, would be his cost. And he's currently, according to his website, charging about 175.
and we don't know what his costs go for. Our deal is that we just need 75 more. We need 75 from you, however you get it.
That would be our all-in cost, be $70.45 to get 75%.
You understand what we're saying?
I understand, and just to kind of answer your question, the year I went from 160 to 180, my revenues or my participation went down about 15%. It went from 600 to 400, roughly. So, yeah, even if you start charging more, you're going to get less revenue because you're going to have less participation.
Does the uniforms, so the 170, that's just for them to enroll. Uniforms, everything else is separate, right?
No, that
includes
the
everything?
cost of their jersey. I mean,
Everything.
and Mark's uniforms are different, but that's their jersey, that's their flags. I mean, the biggest costs are fields, are referees, and uniforms. Those are the three.
So 70 what we needed to charge him, and he's currently charging 170, right? Okay.
I'm just trying to be as realistic as I can, is that when we made the decision to go to 75%, that is to stop the subsidy. And the issue is real simple. That amount of cash has to come in from the parties. I mean, it's just that simple.
And how much?
Years ago, when you raised it from, it was at 50, you were trying to get to 50%. What changed to make it 75%?
About 5,000 owners that are tired of paying and subsidizing this.
well, it's not only that. It's not only that. It's the cost of the fields have greatly increased. When we were really having this conversation, maybe 7, 8 years ago, it was 200,000. It was 240,000 is the amount that we were trying to offset. Because we've had the same conversation, I've had it for 20 plus years. No one wanted to pay the 200,000, the 240,000 back then. So now the difference is what we have to do to these fields to keep them maintained, irrigation, drainage, sod. We have to completely resod these fields because we can't deep time, we can't fertilize them much anymore. Okay.
See what he did field 4 in the winter? I mean,
Just hold on a second.
Okay.
I mean, we can put Band-Aids on it all day long. But in 2 months, if we get a lot of rain and whatever, you guys are going to be bitching and complaining because there's holes in the fields or people, whatever. My point is,
I knew it was coming.
yeah, my point is, it comes a point where turf has to be, like, you have to re-turf. The other is the field lighting. There's, facilities. It's cost us a hell of a lot more to manage the fields than it used to. And people are more acute of those prices. So the cost of doing business is just more, right? That's why the 600,000 is a higher number than it was 10 years ago. And to me, it's a little different. If we have 600, that's what it costs to operate. Either we have to operate more cheaply, So staff has to, contract better. We have to become more efficient. So that's one thing. And the other piece is we have to either increase revenue, net new revenue. We have to find new sources, or we have to increase the revenue that we're getting today. So I'm not looking at it as straightly, hey, I'm putting the burden on the 3 leagues that are today. We have to, we need you to get to 600. This is what your percentage is. I mean, that's one way we could do it. But I'm trying to look at, and I think a lot of us are, is there's, how do we get to 600? And that's why the parking piece, like, if we can just get an extra, 60,000 annually just from parking, well,
Free money.
that helps. If we can, run tournaments during the summer for a couple, that helps get to the 600. So
Have billboards.
then that whole burden of increase doesn't fall back on the leagues, because we don't want to price the kids out. But at the same time, we also have to make sure that, if we need to pay more, that you're not just passing that burden onto the kids.
Well, and keep in mind, you've only set a 75% cost recovery, so the residents are still paying 25% of the cost of these fields. Now, the concept, similar to what we've done with the methodology, and what I would suggest is we know what our costs are for that year. And I've had this conversation with the leagues last year, whenever that was. You have told me to get to 75%. How we get there, we can be creative. We're evaluating
matter.
staff and taking things in-house, doing away with contracts. There's a cost to being a premier community of choice. That you've set that is our motto. So it's going to be on both sides. Now, if you right off the top just say we're at $137 per field per hour, that's the going rate of getting to 75% without putting any capital money in. That is maintaining status quo. I agree. Field 4 looked fantastic. Is that a Band-Aid? Absolutely. We've been told time and time again that the grass on these fields were 10 years beyond its useful life. Can we milk it? Yes. Can we milk the lights? Yes. Okay. But again, it comes at what cost? So we've tried to go to the county. What I would suggest, and I think this would be a reasonable way of calculating this, and Laura started to do this, is taking the last 2-year average, regardless, next year we'd look at 25, 26, looking at our expenses, averaging those two out, and putting it to 75% and say, this is our number.
Well, and what I
It would
don't,
also be unconscious, we didn't want to raise the fees for the leagues. I mean, I didn't want to do that.
But to that point is, if that is our number, and how we calculate that number, if these are our expenses over the last 2 years, we take out the revenue that we've brought in, we take out, rentals, concession stand things, all of that to get to our true expense. And whatever our true expense is, we calculate 75%, and that's the new rate. Because then that
it
incentivizes.
changes every year then, right? So it
Yes.
has to be recalculated. I mean, the
Yes.
one thing like Tim had mentioned, again, driving your revenue is like, well, sponsorships and that type of stuff. Well, that's great, but how many teams do you sponsor? I know, but what's that number? 100?
How many teams did I get sponsored?
No, like on average. Here, my point is, whatever that number is, because you try to get sponsors for every one of your teams, right? So let's just say that's 50. All right, which is
No, I would say generally I'm getting about 50% of my teams, and I'm usually got about 80 teams.
okay. So 40, close. All right. But my point was, like, what I was trying to say to Tim is, yeah, we can go out and get sponsorships, but if we go get sponsorships to drive revenue, that's going to hurt you guys directly, because we're going to be competing for the same sponsorships, potentially. And
What Tim was trying to do was allow the district to have the ability to find sponsorship, naming rights for the fields, the individual fields.
yeah, but that's going to be very difficult. But my point, my point is this. I wasn't arguing with Tim. My first reaction was, I wouldn't want to do anything that would directly compete with the leagues, because we've purposely not done that in the past, is because we don't want to directly compete with you guys. Now, if you say, look, go on and do whatever you want. If you want to get sponsorships, we'll compete head to head to sponsorships. That's fine if we're going to try to get additional revenue. But my first response was, I know that you guys, the sponsorships are a big part of what you do. I wouldn't want to do anything to jeopardize that. But it's not,
So, Doug,
we can try, but it's just not available
So
today like it
what-
was 10 years ago.
we've talked about this, and what I don't think we want to do is putting it out to the highest bidder, because then at that point, we lose the 20 years relationships we've built with these three in this room, and it goes to, XYZ company, and they put whatever they want out there, and they just cut us a check. So then we've lost exactly what we've put out over these 20 years and building these relationships and offering these things. Not saying that management company
They have no
couldn't.
say what they charge, and then they have no say. It's either they're going to agree to it or not. So either they're going to pay them or not. There is no middle.
I think it's great that the leagues are here because it should be something
I
we're
agree.
working on together. Where there are opportunities, can you put 2 tournaments on during the summer where we maybe can charge for parking and maybe, do something? Because what I don't think you guys truly understand, because you're not here during these meetings, is there is serious conversation on, handing these over to Lee County, which we lose complete control, and you would lose, potentially control. There's also conversation on not doing the improvements that are needed. I mean, and it happened. I mean, you guys have been doing this for a long time, Mark and Katrina. We've had these conversations about every 2 to 3 years, and there's been jeopardy of not supporting or not making these improvements. But it's a little different when we're talking about numbers of like 250, 300. We're talking about 600, 700, probably over $1.5 million.
It's $1.2 million to
1.2 million.
redo all of those fields like they need to be done.
And that's not even the parking that's needed and some of the other improvements. So the numbers are just getting bigger, and it's scary. So that's all I'll have to say.
Okay, so Chelsea, when you were talking about putting together numbers for us for the next meeting for a workshop, are you talking about just the budget, no capital, budget with capital, budget with field refresh? I mean, how do these guys feel? Do you feel that we need to go to a 5-year program of redoing all of them or something like that, or what? I would like some input back from you too, because that'll depend on what numbers she presents to us.
So if I could chime in before they answer.
I was confused on the question.
I would not base a capital improvement decision off of the people using it. It is a facility we own, just like with these ponds. We are making large capital investments because we own these facilities and we have to maintain them. Now, do we need to maintain them to the Cadillac standard, or can we get by with the lesser brand, the Chevy?
Sure.
I do think their input's important. Like if
Agreed.
someone's leasing your property and they've leased for a long time, I'd probably want to know what I could do to keep them in that lease for longer or expand usage or things. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I think their input.
And I think their needs too, what we see as a need, and I had this conversation with Mark years back, their needs must totally different than what we are. We're not there every day. We don't see what the true needs are. So it could be something that we don't even.
Used to be paint. We don't have that
he's
problem
even
anymore.
afraid to tell us because it's going to be another cost. But there is a need for something that we're not even seeing.
Paint benches gold.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I would like to hear from both.
Capital wise.
I mean, let's be honest, from a league standpoint, both Tim and I rely on the quality of those fields.
There you go.
Simply put, if the better the quality of the fields are, the less stress the leagues are going to deal with, and in turn, in theory, the district's going to have from complaints or knock-on effects or even lawsuits, God forbid. So you're always going to have that in the back of your mind. We're not going to turn around and say, don't do any maintenance, because quite frankly, over the last 15 years I've been out there, that's been half the problem, because we haven't had proactive maintenance plans, and it's got worse and worse and worse, and we keep trying to put that Band-Aid on it, and now we're in a situation where we're at 1.2 million to do it all right. If we'd started with something, and the leagues have been paying, it's not like we haven't not paid what we've been asked. You told us how much it was back in 2017. I was paying $17 an hour for a field. Now I'm at 67. Those increases have been given to us, and we paid it. Now, for the fair point, sometimes those fees get increased because we have to offset what you were telling us we need to pay. And that's fair. But we're getting to a stage now where our price points are at the top end for what a recreational league is. And as Tim said, just to go back and add another $70 per player to get 600,000 is fair, but we're not going to get any players. And then that's a decision you guys have to make about whether or not it's worth.
An additional 70? No, Tim, I was like, what? It's not an additional 70 per player. $70.45 is what would be total.
What is with capital? What is with refresh per player? That was just O&M. That was just
O&M was
normal.
70. It's not an additional $70 because I was like, yeah, no.
75 and then 85.
Yeah.
Instead of going for let's just say hypothetically, instead of a per field, we say based on the individuals that you have, it would cost about $70 per participant in order for us to cover our costs. It's just a different way to look at it. So then you would say, out of your $175 or 100 whatever, $70 of that would go directly to your ability to lease the field. So the rest you have to operate within, or you increase your prices. But
When you say $70 in addition, I'm like, what are we building? Like 5 more fields and.
It's the accent. It got me.
We're getting mixed up between hours and people. That's why I was trying to get is we did Tim's and it was 20% of the 2,500, 500. That $500 is equal to X. How many people are benefited by that? That is your number per hour or per person.
Per person. And I think that's what we need to look at it for them to understand, like the hours wouldn't, because they can have hours and just not people show in.
To be fair, I rent a field for $67. I could have 5 kids on that field or 30. That's the league prerogative as to what we're doing with our numbers. The hard part for us always is, when we've had this discussion with Chelsea, we don't know from one season to the next what those numbers are going to be until we finish registration. So there is fluctuation.
The only thing that we can do is use past history.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
To project.
Yeah, and to be fair, our numbers don't move that much. So it's a pretty fair average that you can get there, pretty accurate one. So, and these are the things that we're happy to sit down and discuss with Chelsea. We'll be out here to do it. We don't want it to fail any more than you guys do. Obviously, it's in our best interest because we're running leagues out here. But we also have input to help the staff know what is going on out in those fields and what we can do to help giving them direction. Because as Chelsea said, and Flavia, we're out there, we're seeing it.
Well, we've got a lot of things that we've got to make a decision on, especially capital. The capital items, my thing is we can go out and debt finance these things for typically 10 years. Almost all of them, we could justify 10 years. But if we're talking 2 million, that's 200 grand a year plus interest. And you divide that and you can see what you get to. I mean, that added to the operating, these numbers are getting big.
Here's it's
I mean, at the bottom line, and I've had
did
this conversation with
25.
Doug many times, you guys have that problem. And I'm not taking that away or saying it's easy. You have to do what you need to do, whether it be charge for parking. That's your prerogative. That's your land. You can do whatever you want. We as the leagues and the tenants, we just have to then say, okay, how is this going to impact us? We don't know. We've never charged for parking. Whether it is a better interest or revenue stream, that's fine.
Well, the way you can charge for parking is you just add it on your fee.
But then now we've got the same
That's
problem you
easiest way.
have. We've got to have somebody.
Either way, that's what I've been trying to point out. Either way it goes, it's revenue we have to have. That's the issue. And if it's $60,000 and we're at 600,000, again, we're talking a flea on an elephant's butt. We're not there.
Well,
And why
part
go
of the-
through all this parking shenanigan? Just add that to the cost and be done with it. And then you pass it on however you have to pass it on.
Or also allow them to collect the 80/20.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem. If that's a revenue for them,
Well, we are still just tenants. We don't own the land, so you're asking
But
us to.
we'll be, I mean, we would
All
be
they're
really.
doing is collecting the money to
Yeah.
pay us, and it's a part of the revenue stream. That's all it
Well,
is.
we don't,
I didn't even.
so
We're in a circle here.
we are.
Do what?
We're in a circle. Let's.
So
Move on.
the easy decisions that need to be made, I say easy, I say that lightly, is we have essentially 2 capital projects that impact this complex. We have the $1.2 million refresh, and we have the parking lot, the $500,000 parking lot, which, if you remember what I said earlier about those interest earnings, we may be able to use some of that to help this. Now, if you also recall, when we were doing budget last year, we, staff, had put $200,000 into the operating budget to do one field at a time. That was nixed because we said we wanted, if we do this, we want to capitalize this and do a long-term finance. So where you're at with long-term financing is if, based on the old methodology, which the 2023 bond series was taken out of, if you do anything more than 5 years, Pelican's not paying. If you do a 5-year loan on something, Pelican can pay. If you do a 10-year loan based on that old, supplemental trust indenture, master trust indenture, unless we do a whole new bond series, a whole new validation, that is a decision you have to make.
So it's either we use bond or we debt finance over
5
20
years. If
No,
you-
no.
That doesn't make it worse.
No,
So
no,
if you-
no, what I mean, our alternative is we debt finance for longer, but Pelican's not paying in that.
But, and to debt finance longer, we need to validate the borrowing, unless we have,
We would have it in the $55 million bond
okay.
for the parks and recs, fields and amenities, but then Pelican's not paying. If you do
Well, Pelican does have an option to, I mean, we can utilize, I think I talked to Tony about this some time back. We can utilize the bond for us.
Yeah.
And then Pelican's portion, they can pay it as they see fit, like not included on the bond. Like, because the dollar amount wouldn't change, right? So let's see, if the total cost is 1.2 million, 800,000 is ours.
15%.
And whatever is theirs, if they choose to not enroll in a bond or do a short-term loan, whatever how, like, I wouldn't mind, like, whatever how they want it, because they probably wouldn't want to do a
Sure,
bond
I get it.
validation and have all those charges for such a small amount.
Yeah,
Because their amount is going to be much less than, does that make sense, Bob?
Everything makes sense except when you ask me to pay. We don't have anybody that plays soccer or flag, zero.
I'm trying to get these numbers here because this math just isn't adding for me. Tim, yours is I think the
You just said
easiest one to
that one.
calculate. What is the dollar, you charge your kids so much, and of that, a portion of that comes to us. How much do you pay us on an annual basis to do this league?
I paid $25,000 for the spring. And now that includes Facilitron charges, so 2,500 of that doesn't go to you.
Well, my question is real simple.
We get more
What do
money
you-
out of parking.
Hold on. What do you pay us right now? I want you just trying to show you what the order of magnitude of the problem I think we got is. You pay us 25,000 right now.
Or that's for half, so for 2 seasons, it would be 50.
Okay, 50,000.
We would get that same
and your
amount in
500
parking
hold
for
on,
any-
your
for you.
500 hours, 2,500, theirs is 500 of that, is correct? So that $500 is equal to, well, 2,500 into 600,000's what? How much per hour? Then multiply that times his share, and that's the spread that we're trying to make up. I think what we're trying to say in here is yours is going from 50,000 that you pay us to somewhere up around 200,000. That's the
But
reality.
there's no way that'll happen.
And if we
won't get that
can't,
kind of revenue out of the families.
if we can't get past that, guys, we're unit-watting up a rope. It ain't gonna happen, I can tell you.
All right,
I'm
let's
trying to
keep
do
going.
the impossible.
Watering up a rope.
I'm sorry?
A year, not even half a year. They're only out there 20 weeks a year.
If you could
Yeah, if you can
come
just
up to the
come.
podium.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take
All right.
what we know as costs. They're plain and simple right in front of us. And the decision is 75%.
We gotta get
Putting
4
the
more leagues.
decision without capital is, to me, is a ridiculous, major mistake. We got to do it, and we're going to do it right. And that's getting up to the 800,000. And that's 600,000. And that 600,000 is way more than the leagues are paying together right now, probably by the tune of three times. And if they can't cover that cost of 3 times, what, we're wasting our time here. It ain't gonna work. It's a dead duck. That's my point. It's why we're chasing a goose here. They just
Well,
need, we need to
make-
tell them a
we-
straight
exactly.
number.
We need to make a
and-
decision of what the cost is going to be. I don't think I don't have a vision of 100% covered by the leagues, because that wouldn't be fair. I mean,
Well, we're talking 75.
Well, most places it's 70, right? So 75 is a plus, because usually it's 30%. But I just think that our job is, in what Mark said, we come up with a dollar amount. That's what it is. Can they work with it? Yes or no? and that's the decision on, we do a business decision for our residents, they do a business decision from them.
But our problem is, Flavia, we can't make a decision until they make a decision. Because
No,
we don't
we're
know
gonna
what
give
the,
them, we need to give them the dollar amount. so
we
they
just
can-
did.
Well, I
We
think.
just did. We have
I-
given them the dollar amount. I can do, unless we're saying these numbers are bogus, but what I believe that Laura has done is factual. 2588 is factual. And his share is 20% of that, which was 500. I mean, just do the math to take the 800,000 divided by the
Okay,
numbers.
So
It's that simple.
797,000 includes capital.
Yes, and that's what you're gonna
Okay.
have to
It's
do.
with the field refresh.
Okay, so $598,000 is what they have to come up, 600,000.
533 doesn't include the field, the middle number, the
No, no,
budget
no.
with capital.
75% of 797, it's 598.
Guys, let's do this simply. 473,000 is operating. Put that over here to the side. We're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 million for the field. 2 million, and then we subsidize it for 5 years bond issue, which is the most we can do, apparently, without going through bond validation and all that.
No, on the gateway side, you
can't do it.
can do, we'd have to do another bond series. You can do 20 years.
Well, if I go 5 years into 2 million, that's $400,000 a year.
Well, I did it at 1.2 million, and it's actually in the middle of the page on the right-hand side. There's the
not enough
1.2
money.
million at 4% is about
1.2
264,000 a
million is
year.
not enough. We've had several plans that say $2 million. So.
Well, you're adding the fields and the parking lot?
I didn't add the
Yes,
parking
I'm
lot, I
adding
only did
that.
the fields.
Yes,
That's
we
just the
own all that.
fields. I only did the fields.
If we're gonna do it,
If you're
do
gonna do
it
the fields,
right.
you gotta do the parking lot. If you're gonna
If
do the
you're
fields, you
gonna
gotta do
do-
the
Well, if
parking
you're
lot.
gonna
Yeah, I
do
just
it-
did what Chelsea told me.
Yes, if you're gonna do it right. Reason I'm saying what it said is that right now, I think we are at a point, we can tell them exactly what their share is. What we can't tell them is what it means per person, because we don't know the number of people.
And they don't know the number of people. Okay.
Well, they know the number of people, they know how much
Well-
money they're collecting.
Well, I can tell you how much,
They only
we
know
can figure out
average, they don't know.
Well, that's all you go
yeah.
by. That's all we know.
how much money we need, and I can go based on the average rental hours of the field, and I can tell you that we need X per hour.
We're gonna have a workshop on that.
It's right
And
here.
also,
Right in front
It's
of
right in front of you. I did it already.
Well, no, this is 1.2 million. Ed is saying
I
2
just have to update
million.
the numbers, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a
It's-
matter of
It's
updating
not
them.
right in
It's a
front of me at
calculation.
this moment in time, Laura.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, We're real close looking at over the next 5-year period, assuming the bond issue going that route. You're looking at around that 800,000 a year, every single year, not counting any inflation in our own operating budget.
Well, but the intent is to reduce our operating budget.
well, not only
Yeah,
that, but
before.
it should
It
be,
ain't gonna
it should
happen.
be staff's responsibility, specifically in the Department of Parks and Rec, outside of just throwing the burden on the existing leagues, to drive new revenue through, additional leagues, programs,
We have
whatever.
that, Doug, that's great, but the problem is, we haven't got it. We don't have anything that is, you can touchy-feely, that we got
That
revenue.
should be part of the
We don't have
responsibility
it.
of the Parks and Recs Department.
Were they
Your
saying that how
job
long?
is to
We're gonna,
add,
hold on.
generate
revenue.
X amount percentage of revenue, which is this. That is your job. That's
So
that's your
the
remit.
decision that I need you to make is, are we investing in doing the capital or not? Because if we're not, then I've got to come up with alternative ways, because right off the cuff, if you say we're investing capital, I've got $70,000 right off the top sod replacement for this year.
So the alternative is we
But that's already in
we don't invest in the fields.
And I work with staff on milking to make these things last however long we can make them last. And Field 4 was a testament to that, with the overseeding of the, what kind of sod was it? What kind of? Rye.
Oh, imagine that.
Oh,
I don't
good
know.
idea.
If only someone would have said we should be overseeding with rye.
I know, Doug, it's
Saying it
like,
for 10 fucking years.
anyway.
Whoa, you sound like Trump.
Anyway, so that is what I need, because if you decide no capital,
Hops and then just sell to the brewery.
if you decide no capital, then I've got to work on milking the sod out, and we can, it's
I think we should do
100%.
capital. I mean,
I think
I
you're
need
doing it
some time.
half-assed if you don't do
I think we should
capital.
do the
I
capital.
think we should do capital. I mean, we're talking about this over and
So
over.
we get to a final conclusion.
And
Let's put it
let's
in.
just be done.
And to Ed, your point, if we can get this over 10 years, then yeah, our
20, now you said
Talking
20.
20 years.
we can't, but then the sod life is
You're never going to be able to get a bond issue from somebody on a service life of 10 years with a 20-year bond. I mean.
Oh, we tell them,
that ain't
come
gonna
take a look at
happen.
our field. It's been here forever.
They come here and look at it and we'll be lucky to get
But to
five.
that point, then the P&I on that is a lesser amount every year, and then it's less of a sticker shock perhaps to anyone renting our field, not just these folks here.
I will side with Bob
somebody
and
give me
Ed.
something to
Let's
vote
do
on?
capital. Yeah.
Can we vote on something
Make a
related to
motion.
this?
Okay, so I'll make a motion to include capital.
I'll second.
Let's call for a vote. Aye.
Aye.
What the hell are we voting on?
I
What's
don't
the
even know.
motion?
I have no
Voting-
idea.
You're
Jesus
voting
Christ,
it to
people.
add capital, so instead of just looking at operating O&M, we're adding the capital. The only thing is I need to know if it's the 1.2 million
We're
or
adding
the
the
two.
capital to what?
This year.
To this year, to the math.
Well, you're not adding,
To the calculations
To
of
the
the
calculation, so
lease
we-
agreement.
you're
Yeah, so we
adding
can
the
provide that.
amortized capital.
So we can provide that to them and then they can make the decision if that's what they want.
I think we should have both numbers for us to, and then vote on what is the
Make a
impact.
motion.
Do you have,
I'm very confused right now, so
We had a
I feel like
listing of the
Bob.
capital. It was $2 million. You throw in the
Staff
parking
should come
lot
back
and it
with
was
the
2
two
million
options,
for.
Yeah.
Capital,
I mean,
not capital.
we know what the
and
capital
that
is.
increase is gonna be to the.
but, okay, so you're talking like, I mean, not just, you're talking the big number on the end.
Can you just add, do you have the Excel
No,
sheet?
it was hard coded in. I'll get it. I can have it. It's just, I'm trying to work on it and.
Then I would draw my motion. If it's not clear for you. Because
So I just,
thought
what I want to understand
I am
is,
clear.
I need to be clear. I need to be clear. So
Laura-
just let me just make sure this is what I understand. So what you're asking is just for that, it's basically that far right number, the 800,000. You're asking to have that updated to the 2.4 million to
No,
include
it's 2
the,
million.
plus the parking lot, you
No,
said.
it is $2 million.
Including the parking lot.
Okay, that's not a problem. I can do that.
And it's
That's
the
field- wait,
amortized
that-
amount.
And parking lot.
What about lights?
I don't necessarily know that we need them right now.
Have you been out there at night?
Tonight. I mean, we can add
Well,
that.
How much
I
longer
really
can we
just
get
need a
by on the
hurricane
lights
to
that we
just
have
take all the
today,
lights
Tim?
out and put new lights.
I've seen them worse in the past. I didn't notice that they were that bad.
I think we can milk the
You guys are
lights.
practicing at night too but you're not playing.
He's not playing right. I'm not playing.
I don't think it makes any difference anyway, because you're going to come up with a number that's going to knock the socks off of everything. These numbers are just absolutely absurdly above what their ability to pay is. It's that simple.
But we can't say what their ability to pay is. We can say what the cost of our
Well, they
fields
told
are.
us already, they don't have the ability to pay it. I don't think
We
we
can-
can make
we-
it any clearer.
We can say what our costs are, and they can choose to rent or not.
We have heard that before.
If we
too.
choose to make capital,
That's what we need, is
investment.
just do it
Okay,
either
so
five.
Laura, 2 million total.
Over 20 years. Okay.
No, you can't, no.
No, I don't think
You're
they're gonna
never
buy
going to
them.
get that, guys. Nobody's going to give you a 20-year bond on dirt and lights. They're not going to do it.
No, we're not doing lights.
Make it reasonable. If you tell them that the service life is 10 years, you'll be lucky to get 10 years. So I use 10 years and
I
play
want
it
to see
safe.
both numbers. I want to see under just with capital and without capital.
Yes.
You have that.
Without capital, we have it. It's.
You have it
this.
with
That's
capital, you
not
just
it.
don't have
what
the
I'm
full
saying.
refresh built in, so.
Quick question. Field 4, we're talking about Field 4. You know, do you know how much that costs to get done?
$4,500.
Because Field 4 looks fantastic in the short period of time that Angelo's done whatever he's done out there with the rye. What I'm saying and what we were just discussing is you could keep going with that price point to work on the fields and have it as a Band-Aid and keep going without having to go into this 1.2 or $2.4 million capital investment.
That would,
The one problem that you're going to have with that solution, even though I've been recommending it for a long time.
You're just delaying it
Yeah.
to 3 years down the road to put
The minute
to
you
no
get,
longer
the
1.2.
minute you get rain and you start having traffic on it, rye has no roots. So it's just going to get all tore up and, you know, I mean, that's just a worst case scenario, but you're not, the only thing you're fixing is aesthetics. You're not changing any of the
Mark,
compound of the
that-
soil or the durability.
of
Like,
ways
matter of
to-
fact, durability has no impact. Rye has no impact on durability. It just looks good, which is great. I mean, I wanted it to look good.
That is why I've asked them on capital or not capital, because milking it includes rye.
And also, your shelf life on rye is what?
60 days.
60 days. So it will go brown, and then we'll have to seed it again. I mean, it's a constant cycle until you get to the summer and you don't need it.
If you had the capital investment and could do the full work, then that would be different. We wouldn't be having this discussion, right? But you don't. So I'm just looking at it like, what can we work towards where the league can still function? We're not impacting the residents or the non-residents and having less players because they can't afford it. Is there something we can find out in between where we could do this before you make a vote on saying we're moving forward with a capital investment?
It'll come down to two things. One, we just keep putting Band-Aids on it.
Right.
And what is that? But even that amount is still,
At 473.
it's still 400, almost,
$473,000.
almost
huge.
$500,000. That's just to keep doing what we're doing today. And even at that cost, if we do no improvements other than just annual, whatever, whatever
Got
falls
100
within that 473.
You got $137 an hour to get to 75% as it sits today. $137 an hour, doubling what you guys are paying right
That's
now.
still, what is our revenue right now? Revenue from all the leagues and,
157,000. It's at the bottom of the screen. Yeah.
so we're not even a fourth.
That's a point.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the thing that we're hitting into, but I mean, if we do the improvements that we want to, we will price the leagues out. Because to Ed's point, there's no way we can recoup that. We would have to completely change.
Without you guys getting some tenant for the other 20.
Yeah, or completely changing the model, which means we're just gonna have to bid out the fields, or see if there's an entity that would be willing to pay. I don't know. I mean, that's not even.
So we've crunched, it's not even me, it's Laura. Laura has crunched these numbers and crunched them and crunched them and crunched them. And I mean, ultimately, like I said earlier, the decision is you need to decide, are we doing capital or not? Or are we going to continue to milk it? Because then I have a clear path forward. I know to get to 75%, we're billing $137 next year. That's where we're at to get in per hour rate. How they get to 137, that is their purview.
I think at this point, based on, and it hurts me, pains me to say this, with everything we have going on, meter replacement, irrigation, landscaping, the Commons Park, I don't know that we can even invest any capital in what we have right now, especially if there's not some driver that says if we invest that, we will increase revenue or, do something like there's.
Well, if they came up with the 75% and we go back to our residents and telling them now it's flip-flopped, you're now subsidizing 25% instead of the other, vice versa, then I don't think that's not a problem.
It's not a problem, but
the
there's no
problem
way
is,
that
I
they
don't
can get
know that they
75.
can do it.
They can't do it.
That's what I've been trying to say all along. I think the only other option I can come up with, only one, is to cut back, see what the number is, but to cut back to 50% instead of 75, then we do our damnedest to go out and find the 25%.
Now, that's not a bad idea.
That's all that
not
I
a
can
bad-
see we could do.
That's not a bad idea.
And
And
then
I
the
think we
issue
could
is
get
whether
there with.
then can you guys take a hit of the 50% instead of 75? That's the only option I see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I just don't see how we can.
With or without capital, Ed?
Don't even bring that up. I will not vote for anything that does not have capital. We do, everything we've done in this community for 30 years is half-assed. Why do we want to continue it? Let's stop it. If we're going to be in and do a park, or we're going to do, just like the park we're doing, we're not doing that half-assed. Why would we do this that way? So yes, put it in the capital. I think the issue is whether or not we go 5-year financing or 10-year financing, whatever. But the issue is that add the capital with the operating. We know that we're going to have inflation on the operating as it is. It's gone from 200,000 to 470,000 in 3 years. So.
And are you saying
we've gotta-
also
we've
have the
gotta-
option of 50% in there?
Do what?
And you also with the, just so we have the numbers? of
Just
what
so we have the
50%?
number, yeah.
Include
Because if we
50.
come back to 50 and they can't even meet the 50, then we know where we are. We know where we are. But I think we need to
But
be
that
as
50%
truthful
also-
to them as possible of these are our costs and this is what we can do. If 75 is a drop dead and isn't going to work, then our options is we just drop it right now and everything's over with, or we look at another option. And that other option would be cut back to 50%. The owners would go from 25, they stay at 25, that would put the burden on us to come up with the 25% of revenue.
And then there's a third option, which is we don't do any improvement, we maintain it as it is today under current O&M. And that's the same rules apply at 75% or at 50% with our desire to obtain a 25% increase.
Even that, just the operating costs are getting out of hand at 75%. I have question of whether or not they can even do it without any capital, any. Because you take 473, it's about 500,000 is what it is. You take 75% of that and it's still almost a double what you're paying now.
But to the point that we made
The
earlier.
math just doesn't add, that's all there is to it.
Do you have everything you need to, for the workshop on the 5th?
Workshop on the 5th is parking.
There are no bites on the concession stand, right?
We have 2 bites that we're
okay,
working
good.
through. I don't know where you want to go next. That is what I need. So we can get you the 50.
Those 2 calculations.
I know, everything is very minimal to the extent that we'll have to fix from years back. I mean, it is what it is. Cost is not changing.
So we can run the numbers at a 50% cost recovery, 75% cost recovery, all in capital, the whole kit and caboodle. Put that in. We can run the numbers on 10 years, on 5 years. We can run the numbers on 5 years for Pelican. And then we can bring that back and tell you, now on your hours, you want it based on the hourly rate, not the cost per kid, correct?
How you're going to do the cost per kid when we don't know the answer to the cost per kid?
They provide in Facilitron.
They would have to provide it to us.
No, in Facilitron, when they submit, now, again, I'm going at face value,
I'd
what
much
they've
rather
told
do
us.
it on the hours and then let them do the math. We tell them, this is what we need from you.
Yeah.
So just
And be
revise
done
the
with it.
table
Let
that I
them do the
have
math.
on there.
I'll let it do that because
Okay,
while,
already did it.
I mean, as
Because
lucky
it
as we
varies.
are, it will vary and they will.
Because if we have one, let's say one adult league, they're using one field with, no more than, 22 people on it. Whereas another league, if you guys are splitting it in three ways, 4 ways, I think you have to do it by the field.
Yeah,
You can't do it by the individual, unfortunately.
They can do that by
I think
individual when they have the totals.
I would prefer to have the raw numbers first before talking about parking or concessions or anything else. I think we need those.
Well, yeah, and that's what we're
raw
getting.
I think that's what
numbers
we're
to know
saying.
exactly what our targets are, and then we'll discuss what we're going to do to meet those targets.
All right. We will bring that back at the next meeting. February 5th.
Thank you all.
See you then.
Thank you.
Before we leave this, have we had any response from Lee County?
No. And I followed up after the first of the year and did not receive any additional responses.
Anybody prime Cecil?
No,
Might have talked to
yeah,
Cecil.
I think-
I didn't talk to him specifically.
Last
I
I talked to
emailed,
Cecil, Cecil was going to talk to somebody
staff.
higher up at staff, and I haven't heard
Nobody got
anything
back
back.
to us, yep.
So I don't know if he's heard something from somebody, and they're just basically telling him what you're telling us, or they're telling you, and that is, they're not interested.
All right, now we'll move to some.
yeah.
We're gonna be here
Mine's
another hour.
10,
Lost place
no, we're
where
not
we're
gonna
at.
be
Oh,
here
this
now.
looks like, but
All right,
where are
so
we?
D, utility customer, Eagle Point, what is that?
Just to the utility bill.
so Leslie is joining, or if she's already on. So generally, we
We're
have,
paying for her overtime?
she's
My
salary.
God, 2
No,
hours.
she's salary. She's like the rest of us. So long story short, we had a resident contest his bill. He had what we presumed to be a leaky toilet. He knew he had a leaky toilet. we think he made the repairs. The next bill came. The bill was still high. We don't know how long it took him to do those
Repair.
repairs. And so every fiscal year, according to our rules, we can give
An adjustment.
one adjustment. Now, technically, when he emailed in on September 30th, that was last fiscal year. We don't know that he fixed the toilet on that day or when he fixed it, but we have issued a credit for, Leslie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you just recap what we've issued credit-wise to the homeowner? And then they're asking for the additional credit on the account?
Yes, he had a high bill in September, called in after the September bill was due for a leak. He assumed at that time that it was the toilet and he would get it fixed. November bill comes along and the usage from when the end of September into the November bill, the bill almost doubled, related to the usage from the leak. We applied one adjustment for the November bill in the amount of $255. The options at the time was either a toilet leak or an unknown usage credit. At the time when we took the call, he didn't really confirm it was a toilet leak, but later on said it was. He did not provide proof of that. However, under the unknown, unexplained adjustment, we applied that credit, which is the same as the toilet leak. So he received one credit for the November bill.
So ultimately, he's seeking additional credits to the account. We've offered payment plans. But again, we have no knowledge when or if it was a leaky toilet. That was just the surmise on the
Is there
original.
more narrative we're not seeing, Laura?
What?
Is there more narrative?
Is there more
They're not saying.
narrative?
Oh.
Okay.
That's, I kind of rolled on, no.
Well, yes, there is.
This is just the financial impact.
Result, if we give him another one, then the total charge, his total bill would be $700. I think that's important.
So as of right now, the account balance is $921.91. And he's seeking additional credits of $221.91.
And this would be the only credit he could get this year.
We've already issued the only credit he could get this year.
We issued it for 25.
No, we did not issue any credit last fiscal year for him.
I
And
misunderstood
what
that
was
too, Carol.
the 255.86?
That is the unknown unexplained adjustment. So he's seeking an additional credit.
Additional credit.
Now, he did call in on September 29th and just said, take me off auto pay. I think something's up. And we don't know when that toilet was repaired. So,
What's his typical bill per month?
Leslie?
Give me 1 second so I can look that up.
8,000 gallons a month. That's not what typical is.
Yes, his typical bill is about 7,000 to 9,200. 200 to 260.
Per month?
It just ranges for an average of, 200 to.
So if we give him the 221.91, the second one he's looking for, he's willing to pay the 700, which is still double and then to what he typically pays. Am I
Correct.
understanding this correctly? Okay.
He did not receive a credit for the September bill.
Let's make it simple. Did
he pay $1,100 in September?
$921, right?
Yes.
Tell him if he comes in with $700, we'll give him $221.91 credit and be done with it.
I agree. I agree.
Be done with it.
Still 3 times what he would have paid. And if he thought it was a
If
toilet
he's
and it
willing
turned
to
out
pay
it
the
wasn't a toilet,
$700, then he ain't getting the credit.
Make a
the
motion.
total credit he's going to get comes to about, if I'm doing my math right, 480 bucks.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I'm
is our
okay
motion-
with that.
Motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
The motion is if he brings $700 to the table,
He's current.
we'll issue the credit. And if he's not willing to bring it and pay up by the end of next week, then
That's what
he's
my
not
motion-
issued the credit.
Right.
Okay. And that was a motion by Ed or
Sure,
Bob,
doesn't matter.
seconded by Bob. Okay,
Yeah.
you want to call for it?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
You're so
Aye.
used to her not being here.
Okay.
All right, Leslie, you heard that?
Yes.
Thank
You
you.
gotta have broad shoulders.
Thanks, Leslie.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Non-standard discussion. We're
This
not
was
gonna-
just if you had any follow-up that you wanted
think
to talk
we're good.
about.
I think you beat that to death.
Yeah, consideration for the monument sign and admin building.
Well, could we table that for, not for the meeting on the 5th, but the meeting on the 19th?
The
Of-
F, item
Yes.
F? Yes.
Because I would, that would allow for the changes that they're going to be proposing to go to PPAC at their February meeting and get a response back from them.
You're talking the pond standards?
Yes,
Okay.
So move it to the second meeting in February.
correct, on the 19th. And then it would come to us again on the 19th.
Okay, perfect.
So I'll move to table it to the 19th, February 19th
I'll
of
second it.
All in favor?
2026.
Aye.
Aye.
Monument signs.
This is for the front entrance monument to the Commons. On the plans, it called for signed by others, so we are others.
What's our budget?
We have, if you go down to budget, Laura, there's,
130?
yeah, and it's part of the bond.
The budget for the sign for the new admin building, the combination park and admin buildings, 130,000.
We had like $500,000 in the bond for the monument signs, so you could earmark some of that money for a sign.
Well, it's more than 130.
Total
That's
sign.
30
We've
plus
spent
five.
down, we've spent down some of that, but yeah.
I think some of those prices I saw on signs were just absolutely ridiculous. I don't even want to walk out in the street and tell anybody I'm going to spend that kind of money on a
I'll
sign.
be honest with you. So you know the new apartments right here, right? Did you see the signs with the stones?
I asked them who their vendor was. I'm still waiting to hear
I was like,
back.
I'm totally okay with that. Did you see it?
Which one?
Across from Gardner, like right here, the new apartment buildings they're building. It's something, I mean, it's not elaborate. It's just kind of reminds me a little bit of Stony Brook. Do you have a picture?
No, but I did text the developer and ask.
It's, I mean, I would have said that wouldn't be more than $50,000, honest. I mean, I'm not
Sign expert.
in the business, but it's just like,
So we do not, so just so I'm clear, we don't want a digital sign up front in order to sell signage space and advertising.
No. I think it's too razzle dazzle for Gateway.
Plus, how informed do we really want the residents? You know what I mean? You know?
What? I know it's late, but did you really say that?
I'm joking because PR is an issue and communication is an issue. If we had a mechanism that would constantly be able to communicate that, but it's expensive, so.
So is there any part of any of these signs that you like? Then that way I can bring back to you and
I
use
like the
this
one that
as
was
constructive.
V-shaped. It was V-shaped, you can see it from each direction versus just
Well,
flat.
that's a digital. Wasn't it a digital one?
Well, I don't care if it's a digital or not.
This one?
You do when you look at costs.
that one, Bob.
Yeah, literally December 18th, I asked.
But I don't care about the digital portion of it. just the proximity to the road that you could see it from either direction.
Put up the digital deal that our meetings are at 3 o'clock on the second and fourth Thursdays.
We'll have our
or
pictures
first
there,
and
we'll
third,
have
and
poles
nobody
and rocks
shows
all
up.
over.
I'm not paying $100,000 to tell them what they
No, I
don't
said we
do.
don't need
It's
digital.
ridiculous.
So this one we like,
No.
No, I don't like that one.
okay?
Shape, I like the shape.
The
not
V
sign
shape,
itself.
okay. Let's keep going. We don't like digital, so that one's out.
Like
Like a
Morgan and
billboard.
Morgan on
That
that
looks like a
one.
billboard.
Okay, all right.
They're not all the same size.
I don't have a problem with something like
Call
that.
1-800
Somebody like that,
Tony,
now that's the
yes.
one.
I'm with-
Is this two different views or is that just one?
I like that
It's
one.
two-sided.
I don't have any trouble with that one at all.
I like that one.
We do like that one or we don't?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, moving on.
I'm just, on that, I
just
think
think-
the gateway should be bigger.
Simple.
Let me go back.
What about this one, and sign B instead of sign A?
Doesn't matter, they're very similar. I
Height.
think I almost like B better.
One's taller, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like
Yeah,
B
the
better. but-
gateway logo
one's a lot
portion
taller.
should
Yeah,
be
I
a little
think the
bit
B, I
bigger.
like B
The
better.
proportion,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so we don't like
Broccoli bigger,
digital, so we don't like B with digital.
No.
All right,
That was the
There's your
Tony
V,
Brook. I like
Bob.
that.
I don't have a problem with that one.
Yeah, I like that.
okay, so we like sign C2.
Which is even shorter.
Do we like the rock or the,
We got stoned.
We'll have a pressure cleaner, right? Because you know that's gonna be moldy like in 6
yes,
months.
Maybe you ought to put a fountain in the middle of it.
That stone looks a little bit like the fountains.
all right, I think there's one, do we like this one?
No.
No.
It
Okay.
looks like something that goes in a mausoleum.
Now, look, keep going, look
That's
look
for
how nice
skateboarders,
that could
Ed.
look. Look how nice that could.
That looks very nice.
That does look nice.
It kind of looks like the Stony Brook entrance.
But that's what I said. And a mix with the Hampton Park.
Yeah, I
Not to
like
be
that.
biased, but that one was my favorite.
That's not bad.
How much was this? How much is
Not
E?
bad.
114?
114.
And it could be smaller. We could make it, we could scale it down. It doesn't have to be so big, because that one is
That's huge.
69 inches.
Can we rework the inside, though? I don't like District Office Commons Park Gateway. It just doesn't flow very well.
Okay, so I'm trying to get this down to 2 options, guys.
Go back to the one that you had and see what the wording was and do the same thing, only in a different format.
Well, the one before was,
Go back. There you
or,
go.
yeah, 'cause
There you
scroll
go.
down. Yeah. So if you're doing something like Gateway,
Peter, see
maybe
which
it's
one?
more administrative, so it's Gateway logo, and then
And a
here
smaller
it's
part, yeah.
administrative complex, Commons Park, like,
Thomas Park, yeah.
Ooh, pickleball, soccer.
So can we get this down to 2 options?
Go down to 2. I like that one and the one above it.
This one
That one and the one above it.
and not this one, this one.
Those 2.
I like C2 also.
So C2
I
and.
like this one. 165, whatever this.
E.
Sign E.
I agree with Doug, like, just the sign,
Okay.
just the wording
The
of it.
thing I'm trying to figure is where are we going to put this that it's visible? Because right now, when you come by on Gateway Boulevard going north or south,
Right here.
seeing anything
When you
is
turn into the
difficult.
pool, see this grassy space over here? Over here.
Oh, well, the Hampton Park sign
Both
is?
ways?
No.
So it's out more in a visible area.
Yes, it's out here.
Okay.
So you, like, as if you're turning, it'd be right
Oh,
over
okay.
here.
By Eagle Point, the other side.
Is that at the actual entrance we have
Yes.
today?
South of
So
the
the one in
entrance.
the middle would go away,
So it would face the street.
and it would go here, yes. So you could do the V, or you could do the.
You know, to tell you the truth, Bob, that really,
No,
that-
you could do the V, or you could do this one, this way.
I don't think you're going to see, coming from the north, going south, you're going to see that sign very well. If it's a V.
Put it on both sides.
Yeah. I think you'd be better off going with this type of design right here.
Which one? The E as in Edward?
The second one that Flavia just talked about.
And then I agree with Doug, rewarding
This
the.
one?
No,
No, I think that's the one that they'd have difficulty seeing.
I think this one, but I agree.
You won't be able to see that. You won't be able to see it because the only
got
place to
right
put it
by
is
it.
on the corner facing out. And if you're coming from
Wait,
this direction,
The
you won't
question
be able to
is
see
this
it.
perpendicular to the road or parallel to the road?
Parallel.
It's parallel in this picture. In this picture here, it looks like it's perpendicular.
Just pick two or
If
three
it's
options
parallel,
and come
Bill,
back.
if it's
You did, that's
parallel,
what
it's
you
only
have.
one side.
No, there's too many. Like, just
Okay,
pick three,
C2
and E.
but you have to put it in relation to where it's physically going to sit. And there might be some options to that.
Is there a
Whether
way,
it's
is there a
here
way they
on
can
the entrance or
superimpose
if it's
that on that
middle.
site?
I'll ask them.
Yeah,
That
I needed
might
you,
help.
that would help us.
I needed you guys to narrow it down and then we can do a little bit more.
I want to
work.
make sure you can see it from either
All right,
direction.
C2 and E, that's what we like. I'll come back to you.
Aerial overhead.
Throw in, let
Hey,
me just
throw
throw in the
in,
picture on the site, and so we know what it looks
I
like.
only want two.
Yeah, that one. That, I like that one too.
D?
Throw in the
This one?
For that much money.
sign B, like something like that. Just,
Yeah.
And see what you were doing.
but it should look more like
Oh, like B,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Have gateway at the top and then the stuff
Maybe
underneath.
put a little box on it. Chelsea's office is here.
You got 3.
Here's Bob's personal cell phone number.
Put that right on the sign. Call Bob.
Okay,
Good.
all right,
All right, so,
we're
all
getting there.
right. District
Okay.
manager.
Okay, I have a couple things. Yes.
I know, this is,
Well,
I
this-
should have went to Brazil.
we took a month off. This is what happens. All right. I mentioned to you earlier about Timberwood Preserve, that Finger Street right over here about turning over their irrigation line to us. Is that something this board would like us to continue to pursue and work through some due diligence and paperwork with Tony?
I'm trying to figure out the math, how it's gonna work. That line is connected to the main out on, Commerce, or on,
Griffin.
Griffin. And then it goes down there and they sell the water off on both sides. So are we going to go at the end of that line and put a meter?
So what we would have to do is we would convert that master meter, the homes, if you go and open one of the boxes,
It's not individual meters out there?
we would have to convert it to it. But we have to do the meter box project in there right now anyway. So, and if you open that box, their irrigation line is already in our box right there.
Right now, are they a master metered
Yes.
irrigation community?
Yes,
So then that line that goes down, where is their meter at? Right at our,
Griffin.
at Griffin. So then what we do have to take their meter reading and subtract the other meter reading or put in a separate meter.
We would individually meter each of the homes.
That's the other option. But that means then we got to go back and tap that line
The
40 times.
No, it's already tapped. There's already individual services to each home.
That's right. So all we have to do is set the meter.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So
We can do that.
ultimately, I have had some preliminary discussions with a couple of their HOA board members, and they are interested in doing this, but I told them that we would need to do a little bit of due diligence with our attorney, get some paperwork, get with their landscaper, but they are very much interested, and if that is the case, I would like to expedite bringing this back in front of you as soon as possible.
We're positive that our pressure, their pressure drawdown that comes from the new developer isn't going to keep Timberwood not getting any water.
Stephen told me that they ran the model and that everything will work.
Yeah, and I guess from that perspective, from a timing perspective, as Stephen mentioned, they're on submittal 8, 7,
Yes.
7B, 8, or whatever, and that would obviate the necessity to have a temporary irrigation well agreement. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
So their deal with wells and all that other shenanigans.
Would go away.
Goes away.
But they'd have to pay the cost of making the connection, the extension into their community.
I'd make the motion to do what work is necessary to proceed with that option.
Second. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, that was the first thing. The second thing is Girl Scout, right by the church, has that lift station that has an odor control unit. We are looking, we've asked the church for an additional 10-foot easement.
It's L-shaped, yeah.
Yeah, like an L-shaped easement for a bigger odor control unit, but B, to put a Thompson pump there. They have requested $10,000 for that easement and indemnification, which we're working through with Tony, but I advise them that that is beyond my decision.
Indemnification of what?
If anybody were to get injured on that little part of the easement. I said you don't have indemnification on the existing easement, so that doesn't make sense per se, but
I honestly, so we're doing an improvement, something that they have asked us over and over, to do. And instead of partnering and helping, this is the first time ever since I've been sitting on this board or being attending this meeting, so we're going back like 15 years, that they ask for, hey, we want you to fix this. Okay, we're going to fix it, but we need an easement. Oh, but we want to charge you for that. I mean, to me, is absurd.
Let it stink.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, that's.
So what I told them, I said, typically, in my knowledge is that we have not entertained this, but I would take it to you all for your consideration. If the answer is no, I will take that back to the church. They said they want this project to be successful, but they're also losing the ability to use part of their land because of this equipment, and there's a cost.
What do you use that for? My
Sounds like they
opinion,
got an attorney involved.
if you want to call for a vote, it would be a no, and then we can make sure we post that and let the residents, share their feelings with the church.
Who are you dealing with?
They got an attorney involved.
Blizzard. Him, and there's another gentleman who's a farmer.
Dealing with the preacher.
Christian.
Who's a
Sean?
farmer, and a woman. There's 3 people.
Judah? Tom
You
Duda?
do go there to church every Sunday, Ed. I know you do.
I know I do, and I know,
I think
Tom Duda.
the guy, yeah.
Let's reject the proposal for the 10,000.
Rejection, okay, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and Laura has an item.
Yeah, I had, you previously approved the resolution and the fiscal sustainability report for the fiscal 24 ponds. In the process of putting the final disbursement request together, we discovered that the initial end date, according to SRF, was September 15th. Because of the change orders, the work didn't get done until October, so there is a 6-month extension of the end date. There's just an amendment to that loan to extend the end date of the loan from September 15th to March 15th of this year, which allows us to recover the cost of that $30,000 final invoice from MRI.
I so moved.
Nothing else changed, it's just a date.
Is this that resolution 2026-07?
No, this is Footseam loan, but this is another
I
piece
so
of paper. I
moved.
literally got it yesterday morning.
So it makes it a
So-
20-year and 6-month loan? that we're
It
talking-
doesn't, no, the loan doesn't start until the project is finished. It just,
Okay.
and it changes the completion date of the project
Okay,
by 6
good.
months.
We
Thank
have
That's
a
it.
motion and a second on the floor. I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I have nothing else to report.
The future board business?
Yeah.
Does
No,
anybody
we
have?
got,
District
their
attorney.
district reports.
No.
District
all right.
attorney.
Monthly
Monthly
report.
reports.
Monthly reports. Anything for staff for monthly reports for all 3 departments?
They got lucky this time.
Millie and Paul are
'Cause we're
online,
so
yeah.
tired. All right, Tony?
Now,
On the screen.
13.
Can you make it a little larger?
Yep, I
please?
will. Give me a second.
No, you gotta use the
The
magnifying glass.
pages are all different sizes in here. Drives me
Make it a
nuts.
little bit larger. Yeah, I'll just go down.
Thank
to-
you, Paul. You can go home.
I'll just go down to the third one, and the Daniels Parkway Apartments. Stephen touched on it, and we just talked about it. We have the upsize agreement. It's pretty much all ready. They have a different phasing plan now, so we're looking at that with the recent submittal. But again, everything could change with if Timber Ridge and decides to go along with the extent, the conveying the lines.
You can.
Ingress, egress, easement, that's the utilities from, to use the Lee County site. That's been approved or completed. So it was just a question about whether or not the current easement allowed the county to do what they needed to do. Santa Luz, okay, on Santa Luz, we've gone back and forth on the agreements for Santa Luz. I recently got one last week and provided my comments, sent it to the attorney for the HOA. Asked him to give me comments by tomorrow. I don't have them yet, so I'll ask him again.
It's not tomorrow.
No, but I asked him to give me comments back by tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah, and I don't have them back yet. And it's been made very complicated by counsel for Lennar, I'll say that. It's just, I call it overkill for a relatively, $130,000 project max, maybe. I think Chelsea is like the number. So we'll just keep working through that and keep plowing to see if we can finally get that agreement resolved. That's Santa Luz downspouts, Arborwood, we're waiting. Can we scroll up a bit? The easements for aerators, that's been completed.
Nope.
it's me. It's in my
From my
report.
perspective.
It's me. It's me. I will get it
Have we
done.
got to, that's all
I
my,
have to talk to Hedges. It's me.
On the Sunshine Law PowerPoint, I just prepared a new one, gave it to Chelsea and Laura. They're going to share it with all the committees and subcommittees, and if need be, I can chime in any board meeting or committee meeting or subcommittee meeting to just kind of answer any questions that they may have. And I listened to the YouTube of one of the committee meetings last week, and Chelsea and I talked about some procedural things that she will discuss with them about how to handle their meetings. Easement for the Girl Scout lift station, we just talked about that.
Wait, was that a subcommittee meeting? What?
Pond subcommittee.
What was the issue?
Oh, just the bid.
Oh, the bid.
I was
Okay,
just
okay.
listening to that to educate myself about
Okay.
how that discussion ensued.
I thought they were doing something wrong procedurally.
No, it was, no, it's just that, a little awkward, but it was fine. On the public storage tank MOU lease with Lee County, I think that's pretty, I prepared my title opinion for that, so that should be squared away. Chamberlain was resolved, as we all know. Tetra Tech, I have the outline of the additions to their agreement to meet some of the CDBG requirements. Gateway Greens, that village transfer is completed. The board policies and procedures, Chelsea and I had a conversation, I think back in December, really, right around Christmas time. And I've made some additional changes, and I'll send that back around to her probably tomorrow or Monday, and then we'll get with the board about that. And I do appreciate the comments I've received from the board in the past about additional text to go into that. And again, started drafting the parking rules and regulations, sort of put that on hold pending today's discussion, but I can pick that up pretty quickly and get with Chelsea. So we'll have that in your board packet for the next board meeting on the 5th. And monitoring legislation going on in the legislature, I sent it to Chelsea. The legislature is getting very in the weeds on landscape irrigation systems as far as what's required.
Getting very what?
Very much in the weeds on landscape irrigation systems. It's pending legislation. And, pardon?
There's a pun.
Oh, no, yes. But, and again, I'm not sure what the impetus is or genesis is, but I think the bottom line is we're going to make it more complicated. When you decide to reconstruct or do brand new irrigation systems, some of the standards. I can send it to you, Ed, because it may affect HOAs also, if you want to see that. And just anything else you all have, and any questions of any matters?
Yeah, Tony, there's been talk in about property taxes, either giving more relief or whatever. We're a non-ad valorem tax, so that would not affect us, would
My
it?
knowledge, based upon what I've read to
Or-
date, based upon what I've read to date, it's only ad valorem taxes. But again, it's never safe when the legislature is in session.
Right. If they eliminated property taxes, that would affect us.
It would not, because none of the revenues that this district derives or generates comes from ad valorem taxes. It would affect the city.
Would not.
It would affect any entity that imposes ad valorem taxes.
Okay, thank you.
It would affect it to the extent if Lee County or the city of Fort Myers looks for alternative revenue sources. And what's interesting is just from a political perspective, how the Speaker of the House has put forth like 6 or 7 different proposals. And they're all kind of little nitpicky thing. I mean, as opposed to one comprehensive plan. And the political rumor is that that's taking shots at the governor because in his plan. And they're just fighting. They're feuding. It's just typical.
Taking shots, get a different term.
Yeah. Oh, no pun intended. Criticizing each other. But no, it would not affect, as it stands right now. But again, they've got another 55 days to engage in all kinds of, to wreak havoc, yes.
Anything else for Tony? Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
All right, does anybody have anything to add to Chelsea's agenda management?
Work for next meeting.
Just quickly, could you give us an update on the meter replacement trial thing?
Yep.
Is it
so-
going okay, not okay?
Yeah, no, it's going good. We're working on sending off 5 meters of each pilot company to get them tested. Next week, we had to wait till this cold front has passed us. We're still on track for March, coming to you guys in March for a recommendation for award. So right now, we're going back through the evaluation criteria. Staff internally, Leslie, Bill, Austin, Arcadis, we're all working together on reviewing those. We're working on a flooded pit test to flood the pits and see how they work in, in water. But
Like Gateway.
yeah. So like I said, we are planning on coming to you in March. I will tell you that the reading failure of our existing system, our current system, continues to be exacerbated by a multitude of issues. So we are very much, and I speak for Leslie because she is the one who deals with this on a daily occurrence, not myself, that extremely looking forward to a new system. So our 100% warranty expired on December 31st of last year. We pushed out, and I have to commend staff for this because we pushed out almost 2,000 units of each ETR, MIU, and
Replaced.
to swap out before. And we're still waiting on some return units from Zenner, but between the meter staff pulling that out, cleaning the stuff, and then sending it off, it was a very good push there at the end to just try to get additional stuff until we can get the new system in place. So the box project, they just started phase 2. That is probably going to be done in March, April timeframe as well. So we're ahead of schedule with the box project.
A question, the test units, we got 3 different companies?
Yes.
That's all, we're going to get an evaluation in
Yes.
March of that?
Of those
results?
3 companies, yes.
Thank you.
So we'll select, hopefully, we'll recommend to the board the full deployment.
Like Carol, I mean, I haven't heard a word about this.
So agenda management, so we'll have the parking facilities discussion and we'll push the aeration workshop to March. And then anything else that comes up in between. But I just wanted to call out, we will be starting budget a little bit sooner. We'll start personnel discussions in March, just to get a pulse of where you guys are with that. And then in capital, we'll try to get your capital initiatives in March as well. So start thinking about capital projects that you have ideas on for next fiscal year. So, and then last thing is we have a, where's it at? Don't we have a President's Council meeting coming up in April? So just make sure that's on your calendars. April 23rd. April 23rd.
Over here.
Yep.
Okay.
And if
I
there's,
won't be there.
okay.
When you're here.
I'm sick.
It's very gloomy when I'm not.
It's here, though.
Yep. They're here.
It's here.
So anybody have anything else? If you scroll down, I just want to call out, we have the, this is my priority list that, so you can see that may change every meeting, but you can see the top 3 things that we're going to be working on here coming up soon. And as things fall off the list, we rearrange, but that's pretty much the gist of it right now. That's all I had for agenda management. Last.
Yeah, you heard Tom Shaner earlier in the meeting in the public comments ask for this letter. We have an issue with the language now.
If the board wants to revert back to the language in letter 1.
As long as it continues to provide for a board member in participation.
Well, and I want to bring that up because it was mentioned that they met with the city, and the whole point of that letter was to make sure that we're engaged in these conversations. And I feel like that conversation with the city might have gone differently had we had somebody sitting at the table and could have spoken on behalf of the district.
I'm not aware if they had a meeting with the city. Cheryl recognized Perry.
Yes, I was not aware of that meeting.
Excuse me, Perry Dragon, Vice President of Pelican Preserve Community Association. I was in that meeting with the city, and the whole point of this letter basically was to get the city attorney to talk to the Attorney General about the process they needed to go through. And he wanted to make sure that the CDD was amenable to having discussions with Pelican Preserve about that, so he doesn't waste his time going to the Attorney General and back and forth and so forth, because he wanted to get guidance on how assets could be conveyed to the city and then from the city to Pelican Preserve. That was the whole purpose.
And I believe that that first meeting preceded the request for this letter. As a result of that meeting is why they wanted something from us, and you correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah, that was
something
the-
from us saying we're not
Okay.
in disagreement with it, but we want to participate in
Did
it.
it precede it?
And neither letter 1 or letter 2 have been sent. Has either letter 1 or letter 2 been sent?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it either. And again,
Okay.
from a
Then
sequence point of
can-
view, they met initially, decided, the city said, we'd like to have the letter. That's what prompted us to write a letter. And then,
Okay, so
it's-
could we
So the
have
bottom
letter
line is
number
they asked us to
3,
change the letter to letter 1.
which would, yeah, but could we have letter number 3 that says we would eagerly engage in a tri-party discussions? The city, the
whatever's easiest, I'm
the
okay to
district
anything.
and
Who drafted
the
that letter that they want us
association.
to
Their board.
sign?
I did.
Tony
Oh,
did.
you did?
Somebody did?
I drafted both.
What I suggested to Tom over the holiday was that they draft the letter that they're asking us for our review and consideration, and that did not come through. He just said they want letter 1.
So what, if that's what they want, let's just give them that letter 1.
Well, what he said was letter 1 satisfied all the requirements.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that we would participate. That, I'm okay with it.
Well, but letter 1 said that we, as a district, would turn it over.
No, it did not say that.
Yeah.
It said we would consider, depending on how their negotiations.
There it is, right
It
there.
kind of inclined to, I will agree with Carol. It kind of,
Well, that's why we changed it.
I
yeah.
would prefer to have a letter sent that says, these 3 parties are more than willing to meet.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because
I just want to get it moving.
Yeah, what's up on the screen, that third paragraph, I think is the one that caused the, I'll call it the angst in certain areas.
So do you want me to ask Tom to draft a letter?
Yes,
To be letter 3,
yes.
and then bring it back to you at the next meeting?
Now, let's get it going.
it done.
If
Let's
it
get
meets
it
the
done.
intent, you're authorized to send it out. You know what we want.
Well, what if Tom says, I want that?
Well, he's got to satisfy Chelsea. I just don't want to have another 2 weeks going by. You understand what we're trying to get to, right?
That we're open to conversations and to turning it over.
Correct.
That's it.
And that we would like to participate in the meetings. That's it.
Right. And we'd
I,
like,
okay.
to participate
Jointly.
in talks.
Tony, I'll draft it. Don't you worry. One paragraph. That's all they get.
That'll save a lot of paper.
bring it back 5 pages.
This should not be complicated.
No, it's pretty simple.
Like, literally, just take that, throw it in ChatGPT and say, generate
We trust
this.
you, Chelsea.
Find
I
the,
just want to make sure that Bob and Chelsea are in these talks.
All right. Supervisor comments?
I don't
Carol,
have any.
Ed, Bob?
Well, I had one on the easement in Solaro, but I'm satisfied we'll get forwarded it. In kind of anticipation for next year's budget, I'm going to suggest or get the board, I want you guys to consent on the building of the multimodal path on the west side of Tree Line. So it goes from the current C5 down to Winn-Dixie. To that end, I'd like to have staff already engage some engineering activity so that we're ready for next year and we don't lose a lot of time. It's in the '01 budget. It's something we're responsible for, and we just need to extend that sidewalk down. So I'll make a motion that we engage Tetra Tech to start on that
start
process.
design of-
In advance of the budget, just have a chance to vote on it.
It's
in
on the
budget.
west side of
West
Tree
side.
Line.
Yep,
Within the right-of-way of Tree Line.
Of course.
yes.
We don't go on private
So
property.
do I have a second?
I'll second your motion. We call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Oh, I got, yep.
I don't know how many of you came down from 82 down Griffin on the way here, but we still have a nice, a problem with people who want to park on the side of the street in front of the school, right in front of the no parking signs.
Oh, yeah. They're doing it everywhere.
So I think, didn't you have,
So today when I was coming in, I saw FWC was parked. It was, what, 1 o'clock I came in? They were parked in front of the
Elementary school, right?
elementary school.
Yeah.
So I, pulled with my seatbelt on because I didn't have it on, put it on, and I went around and I sat, introduced myself to him. So he actually showed me who gave him the schedule? Was it you?
Randy did.
Okay. The only thing, I mean, I told him, I said, work the schedule, but he showed me the timing, 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock in front of the school. It should be on that. School here lets out at 3. So I would exclude that 1 to 4. I would do 2 hours there.
Yeah,
for
that was
enforcement.
the intent. We just gave those examples and those times.
Oh, okay, so then you need
It's-
to, then you need to follow up and get clarification because
That's what they
he's
follow.
They have been
understanding.
following it.
He is following it to the T.
Oh,
So between 1 and 4, he's parked in front of the Gateway Elementary School.
They were up at the high school this morning when I came in.
Exactly what he
Yeah.
said, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say, between, because they let out 1:30, so 12. And then he told me, that was the same gentleman that I spoke today, was the same one. He says, he's from Naples. He has never seen anything like it by the fire station, by the charter school, by you. He says he does not know. He's like, I don't know how this is happening. He says people can't get out. He says they were starting at 11:45.
Who is he that's doing this?
FWC.
FWC, so the enforcement.
I told
And I said,
Cecil
go
about
heavy
it.
on that him. Just like, I was like, we're not here for you to report to us. We're here for you
So
to
we've
do-
only scheduled them for January, and I was,
Elementary school?
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, they're
They
all
said that
four.
the-
They're
As of right
stacking,
now, he
yeah.
says it was so bad. He says he actually observed like the fire trucks are like trying to get out and honking, and they're pretty good at it. He says they weren't blocking, but turning the fire truck is not knowing which direction to go. He says,
So,
I
is it-
never saw anything like that. And
Is his responsibility to rove, or is he,
ticket issue.
I know, but he's not just parking, right? Like, he was
Well,
parked
he
today.
was parked here
Yeah,
today,
But
but-
we want him moving, right?
when the schools are letting out at those times, that's where we want him. So I will make it clear, like, hey, that is just the time span. You don't have to stay at 1. We want you at,
But is he issuing tickets?
so far, I've only seen warnings issued.
Even today, it was just warnings. I
Why did
looked.
you just go down car after car after car? If he gives 5 tickets for a
That's
couple
what I
$100,
told him.
that'll
dissipate some revenue.
That's literally, that's what I told him. I looked straight at him and I said, look, I'm the reason why you're here, and my board wants you to just, I'm not telling you what to do your job.
You
But-
get tickets.
But we do pay you,
We-
so do your job.
You
So-
get 5 of those people paying, and that word's going to get around so fast that the problem will get solved.
We did convey to them that it is our desire to have tickets issued for violations of these issues, but understanding it's up to their purview. Now, I have asked them, because we only hired them for a month, and that's this month, and I did ask them to come in January to one of your board meetings and give a recap. But if you want to continue to engage with them, I personally saw an A-frame sign at the charter high school saying this is not a drop-off zone. So, I mean, it's somewhat prompted them to take more action than they have in the past. It's not perfect, but I will have them come if you would like and give just a debrief of,
And that would be nice prior to, so he see the sense of urgency that we have and
I don't
safety
think
and
that's even
stuff.
needed.
Yeah, I don't need an
Hey,
after. I can read the report.
Officer, yeah, go here, do that, like, this is the problem.
well, I haven't hired them for February because I thought you guys would want to get,
Let's see tickets.
So, yeah,
That's what
follow
we
up with
need.
him, just clarification on the locations. And then second, I know Tony or you were going to follow up regarding the, not the development order, for the charter school to see if they're
did.
exceeding, what they were.
they amended it and I actually reached out to DOT. They had amended it and did away with the third middle thing and they are following it.
Third middle thing, what?
They used to have a third like drive
Okay.
cut through and from the original one to that one. And I was like, am I reading this right? And I sent it to DOT and they sent me the most current one and they are following it. So
And I guess the question, the citations are issued on the county roads, because the state statute typically talks about citations issued for city and county roads.
they haven't issued any citations.
Okay, but when they do issue citations,
Oh, I don't think it would make a difference because you do citations on both. after-
no, I'm talking about district roads versus the county and the city roads.
Why, are you saying they can't write tickets on district roads?
I have to double check the statutes whether they can write them on the district roads. For example, they can do it for Daniels Parkway, they can do it for Gateway Boulevard, they can do it for all those.
Okay, so the
without
only
a
two
problem.
that they can't do it, it's Girl Scouts and Soccer Drive.
Might be
No, West Links and
They
Common.
can't issue a ticket on West Links Drive?
They may not be able to.
Why?
Again, it's not a county or city road. And if you look at the transportation statute, it talks about the
They
county.
wrote tickets in Gateway, and those aren't the
Yeah,
county
we,
roads.
like, same with, like,
Well, there's a difference between parking and other violations, traffic
well, can we
violations.
sign up with an agreement with them, just like very similar with the RHOA does it? Like an interlocal agreement, like my HOA
With Lee
gets
County?
private with FWC, since that's who we hire.
Yeah, we have unit detail
Yeah.
agreements.
Which-
That
yeah.
they do
So,
tickets for
same here.
everything.
They insure, they do speeding, they do speeding.
Stop
is-
sign,
We
speeding.
need to do that then, okay,
Yeah, so we, okay, Tony,
yep.
what were you?
No, just double check, okay. no, no.
I don't see a
So,
reason why they can't issue.
Yeah.
do you have the one with
those roads.
FWC or with,
I have one with the Lee County Sheriff's Office, but
And the
they
county
know
commission.
my expectations and they know how I get, so they do issue tickets
parking?
for everything.
No, but you have it with Lee, but it's with Lee County and Lee County Sheriff's
The
Department.
only thing they
Yes.
will not do is they will not issue a ticket for a non-compliant MUTCD sign. So if you've got a sign that says 17 and a half mile an hour, they
They
won't
won't
issue
even
it.
do, they won't even do, that's what we did with Stony Brook before we turned it over. We
It has to be at least 11 miles over the speed limit,
had
so
to get
minus
it-
25, so they had to be,
The
yeah.
statute that provides for the enforcement by the Sheriff's Department is a separate statute. And so whether or not there's one for FWC, I have to check.
Okay.
As to West Links and.
And they didn't give a
California.
ticket because of county court.
Resign, you want to resign, okay, is it effective
Because
immediately?
in Gateway, they were giving too many warnings.
We can, what we
I
can.
need signatures.
One thing, when again, when we get to parking regulations, we can.
Yeah, probably.
Tony, hold it for the next meeting.
Bobby, we can.
We're done.
Once we get parking
I'll be a
regulations,
sign.
we can tow. Once we get to parking regulations, we can tow them.
Chair,
I need a lot of signatures.
Oh, we can?
Flavia,
But they have to be outside of the vehicle, you know,
If we get
Sherry.
parking regulations, just say, hey, we're gonna tow you.
Yeah, but if they're inside the vehicle, you can't tow.
Yeah, that was her.
I'm not sensitive.
Oh, I can just see it.
Anyways, no, it's just, again, that's why I wanted that clarification as to whether
you can sign.